Live from New York.
I am back.
It's a show that has an IMDb page, and we'll tell you about it.
Two of the three of us
Don't be mad.
Yeah.
I'm not mad.
Just stop falling for
Bru's been in multiple
Stop doubting me.
TV shows and movies. I've been in one with Academy Award winner J.K. Simmons.
What were you in?
National Champions. A movie about the football players that went on strike before the national championship game to get paid. Kind of foreshadowed NIL. I'm actually the first voice and face you see in the movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
You got to pick it up, KW.
I'm in nothing.
But I'm not an actor. I was just playing a broadcaster. That's why I can't act like Brou.
Yeah. I got range.
Right.
First hour, first things first. Today, Justin Herbert, undefeated. Got a little swagger to him now with the pretty girlfriend. That's their early take.
Famous, too.
Are the Chargers now the team to beat in the AFC West? Meanwhile, Super Bowl MVP Jalen Hurts, new article in The Athletic, detailing how underrated he is.
Oh, my God.
Does anyone here agree or disagree, or how far is the pendulum swinging around?
I think we're now in the other direction.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. Confusing. And finally, the coldest segment in all of sports, actually a historic segment coming up.
Can I tell you something?
You told us yesterday. I'm not
I
giving
didn't say
anything away.
historic, but you're implying that if Mahomes isn't at the top, it will be the first time. It would not be the first time.
No. He wasn't on the top.
It's been a
post-Super Bowl.
long time, it feels like, though.
He might have been on the
Several
top
years?
post Super Bowl. There was a moment a couple years ago he was not at the top. And then he quickly regained it.
Since I've been on the show?
Yeah, definitely. He's not on the top every week. His name is. It's
his name.
It's his namesake.
It's like,
mountain.
but now it's more LeBron-esque.
No.
King of the Mountain.
No.
It's like, and of course LeBron, but it's named after him. It's like an honorary.
No, that part's not true.
Oh.
Good job,
Okay.
Host.
We start with the Bake Show. 2 touchdowns on the night in the air. Another game-winning drive. 15-yard scramble on 4th and 10 to keep the game-winning drive alive. Rashad White's 2-yard touchdown with 6 seconds left sealed the game. Look at the Bake Show go.
That was a 4th and 10, man.
He's so good.
That was awesome.
Here's
And
Baker.
he was ready to fight, too.
Yeah.
Game.
Similar to what I told you guys last week, in these 2-minute close games, we were not on the right side of things for the past couple of years, and it's good to see that we haven't even played close to our best ball in all 3 phases, and we're still finding ways to win on the road, and that's really important.
Baker trailing in the 4th quarter since the start of last season, completing about 74% of his passes, passer rating at 108. He leads the whole league in completion percentage. 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Nick, you've always believed in the Bake Show. Now do you believe the Bucs are real Super Bowl contenders? I think you have. You have them going to the Super Bowl.
I have them going to the Super Bowl, and I mean, how could they not be? Like, the combination of great skill position players that we think are going to get better when Godwin gets there and as Ibuka, gets older in his rookie year. 2 running backs that most teams would love to have as just one of their running backs. Todd Bowles' big weakness historically has been game management, and I thought he was excellent at it last night on both sides, and he's always been great at cooking up blitzes, which they might need to more now because Kalijah Kancey tore his pec in the game. That was the one real loss. The right tackle went out, but Kancey potentially lost for the season. And then you have Bake Show, who, dating back to his time in Cleveland, when he went to Pittsburgh and hung almost 50 on him in the playoffs, has always been a very good big game quarterback, and now has proven over the last year plus, he is quite simply, without any qualifiers needed, one of the very best quarterbacks in football. Here are his ranks in the league since the start of last season.
Yeah.
He's top 4 across the board. Total touchdowns 2nd, total yards 2nd, passer rating 4th, and when you add to it the path of that division to where, and one of the reasons I picked them to go to the Super Bowl is they were my pick to be the 1 seed, because I think the NFC East is going to provide more potential pitfalls for Philly along the way. The NFC North is going to provide more pitfalls along the way. And as we're seeing this year, the NFC West could,
West is gonna be tough.
the West all of a sudden is really tough. The South is not. And so for them to play two teams that going into the year, Brou, I think were considered either right on the outside or right on the inside of projected playoff pictures. Atlanta and Houston, like, you know what I mean? They were both projected to be like somewhere from 8-9 to 10-7, like not great teams but good teams, not play their best, steal victories, and be 2-0. Yes, to me, they are true contenders.
No, they look good. I said yesterday they are not Super Bowl contenders. I will say today that they are.
Wow.
I think they are. I still have Green Bay, which is my pick in the NFC, Philadelphia, and Detroit ahead of them.
Detroit, too. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Detroit, we'll see.
Yeah.
Have they righted everything?
Yeah.
We can see. But right now, I'd probably go with Detroit. But I think Tampa Bay's right there after that. As you said, I mean, Baker is now, he's gone from, I think a few years ago, one of us said he's a dark horse MVP candidate. So he is a legitimate MVP candidate now. And like you say, he can run, he can pass, he's clutch. The players believe in him, so he has the intangibles to galvanize the locker room. The defense has played well. That's Bowles' specialty. They stopped the run well. Bucky Irving has, and I know Rashad is good too, but Bucky Irving has kind of changed everything for them. Remember, they didn't have a running game for so long.
Correct.
And he corrected that right away. He can also catch it out of the backfield. So, yeah, I think, as you alluded to last week when we were in Kansas City, if everybody plays their A-plus game. If everybody plays their A-plus game, I think the teams I mentioned are better. But obviously that doesn't always happen.
I agree with
and
that.
You do have a quarterback that can ratchet it up in the big game. So I think they're right. I would probably say second-tier Super Bowl contender, but contender nonetheless.
The confetti test is Simmons' thing. I think it's so ubiquitous. I've just kind of think it's a thing, but I think
we're used to you taking other people's things and making them your own.
Thank you.
Defense wins championships, Achilles heel. People have done that to you, I'm saying. You came up with that.
Yeah. Now the shoe.
It's like a get back.
Now the shoe's on the other foot. Trademark.
Oh, wow.
Confetti test a lot of times in the NBA. Can you close your eyes, see this superstar hosting the Larry O'Brien Trophy? NFL-wise, if you close your eyes, you don't have to do it. Can you see Baker holding the Super Bowl MVP trophy? Outside that, they're contenders, they're good. Can you actually see him winning it all?
I could see him eventually winning the Super Bowl. This year, I would say no.
I know we're going to talk about them shortly. By that test, I can see that this year more easily than I can see Justin Herbert this year. I just feel like there is a. Say it again.
Playoff success.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like he has had more of the steps of the journey.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's right.
And so we've seen him play really well in multiple years in the playoffs. And I thought you were going to mention this because you love fairly that Jalen Hurts has won. What is it now? 18 in a row, 17 in a row.
Well, he's now 16-0 in his last 16, but I think it's.
Okay. Well, whatever it is,
the
last team to beat the Philadelphia Eagles when Jalen Hurts started and finished the game were Baker's Tampa Bay Bucs, and they throttled them.
Yeah.
It was 33-16.
Game?
No,
it's like
no. 33-16. It was
almost a
week
year
4.
ago.
Yeah, it was almost week 4 of last season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that was when they were 2-2 and, on shaky ground, and then the Eagles have been this dominant force since then. I think that's sneaky helps them. You know what I mean? That they don't feel like, we're overmatched by this team.
Anybody.
We can play with anybody. And I feel like we would be remiss without, and maybe at this point this is the end of it, but just acknowledging what a disastrous chain of events the Browns set into motion on themselves.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know. When we go back
can I
go ahead.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. But
Would Baker have become this if he stayed there is what you're going to ask?
Yeah.
Stefanski is a good coach.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that had the the Browns embraced Baker the way Sean McVay and then the Bucs did maybe. I do know that in his first, he was the number 1 pick for a franchise that has been looking for a quarterback for decades. Mm-hmm. They were 1-31 in the 2 years before they drafted him. 1-31. He then sets the rookie record for touchdown passes at his first year, obviously. And his third year, They win a playoff game in Pittsburgh, and by his 5th, they're like, we're too good for you. And we will move heaven and earth to bring in Deshaun Watson in large part because Odell's dad thinks you're a problem. Yeah. And it just...
that was the thing. I mean, there were a lot of factors. Yes. It wasn't just Odell and his dad. But Odell being such a popular player. Remember when he first got there, he and Baker was like, oh, they're going to be this team, great tandem and all that. Odell was so popular around the league in that locker room that when his dad kind of turned on him, it was like everybody went against Baker. And if they had Baker Mayfield, because that defense is good, they give up a lot of points because the offense does nothing, but the defense is actually really good. They would be, I'm not going to say contender, but they'd be a playoff team.
They were a playoff team after Baker with Joe Flacco.
They could do some damage in the playoffs.
I think on the heels of Tom Brady's hit with Colin when he talked about quarterback development, next time we have Baker on the show, I think it's a good question for him. If you stayed in Cleveland, would you be this player?
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is.
Baker's one of the...
He had good moments. It's not like he was Sam Darnold or something. He had some really good moments.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's skill is enough to overcome a organization that doesn't have the structure to make you great.
Sure. Maybe he wouldn't have reached these heights, but they opted out of quarterback stability.
That's right.
And that, you know what I mean? And we'll see if and when they recover from it.
5th straight year the Bucs have started 2-0. On the other side of the ball, the Texans came up short. Winless to start the season. C.J. Stroud expecting to hear some criticism. Take a listen.
Sun to rise in the morning. It's not the end of the world, but at the same time, we all get paid a service, to do a job, and we got to get those jobs done at a faster rate. I think, as a team, we got to just stay together. Everybody's going to talk crazy, and we suck, we this, we that, and at the end of the day, we got to stay together and just mesh well.
Okay. Is it time for the Texans to panic?
I don't think panic. I mean, they've played 2 really good teams, 2, you think, Super Bowl contenders, both of them, Rams, and they've lost by a combined total of 6 points. The defense is good. I mean, you face Matthew Stafford and Baker Mayfield, and I think they're giving up about 17 points a game. Like, the defense has been good. We know they have a strong pass rush. Their problem has been offensively.
Correct.
They haven't gotten it going, and it is now time to wonder what in the world is going on with C.J. Stroud, who was fantastic as a rookie, started out that second season pretty strong, and then since then, he hasn't been, like, horrible, but he hasn't been close to what made everyone love him a few years ago.
Well, if you cut his, Brou, you can keep going, but just show the graphic. If you cut his career in half, now the midway point does happen to be the moment he told Caleb, come here, young fellow, let me teach you something. But it's 17 games on both sides, Brou, and those are drastically different numbers. Like 26-5 touchdown interception, 18-13 touchdown interception, rating of 101 to 84. Like, yards per game dropped by almost 60 yards. Like, that is seismic difference, and it's 17 before and 17 after.
And remember, when he came in, he had DeMeco Ryans was a rookie head coach. Yeah. The organization was in tatters. They didn't have Joe Mixon that year. The offensive line was, injuries, guys in and out, and he still played great. So I get it. Mixon isn't there. Chubb, isn't what he used to be. He had a nice run last night. They've had some injuries with Tank Dell. Stephon Diggs got hurt, and now he's gone. So I get some of those things, but he looked like a guy that was overcoming whatever was in his path as a rookie. And so that's their biggest question. They still, look, the division isn't strong. Their next 2 games are Jacksonville, Tennessee. Yeah. You would think they should be 2-2.
Game's huge.
That's a big game, right. But they could be 2-2 in short order and then still be in the mix in that division. But they clearly aren't a Super Bowl contender.
Go ahead, KW.
It's getting late early in Houston. This Jacksonville game might be it.
Well, it's a big game.
If you go, if the Prince can eliminate the Texans, we got you. You guys are now 0-3. We're gonna cruise and have Houston in the rearview mirror. Be a great moment for.
Well, listen,
the Prince got a long way to go.
If you can put sort of like a powerhouse team,
they got to worry about the
before I give my answer. I feel the need to disclose and remind the audience, especially after what happened yesterday. I did live in Houston for 4 years.
Yeah, of course.
So this is, I guess, another one of my hometown teams that's 0-2 that I'm not going to write off.
That's your.
But it's my thing. I wouldn't panic yet for a lot of the reasons Brou said. I wouldn't feel great, and I agree with you, Brou, that I don't look at them as they come nowhere close to passing the confetti test. I would be gobsmacked if this team goes on a deep, great playoff run. However, the defense was supposed to be their strength. I think the defense has been pretty awesome.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like they held the Rams to 14. They held the Bucs to 14 until, and they had the Bucs at 14 points in a 4th and 10 and seemingly had Baker sacked to win the game, and Baker made a great play. So I do think the defense has been great. I don't know that I ever believed Stroud was quite as good as he showed his rookie year, but I do believe he's better than he has showed over the last year. So I think he'll play a little better. And then there is the important factor of the division, which is I am planting my flag that the 2025 2-0 dynamic offense, holy crap, Daniel Jones, Indianapolis Colts, are on a group chat with the 2024 holy crap, Derek Carr dynamic offense, New Orleans Saints. And that they are going to have a similar, next few months that the Saints did, which is this team out of nowhere. The offense is amazing. The coordinator's a genius. And then it gets, water finds its level. If that's correct, 9 wins this division. We have seen a year 8 wins won this division. And so, the Jacksonville blowing that game to Cincinnati was massive.
Yep.
You know what I like? Jacksonville had that game won, then you would feel like they really could end them. 3-0 with a head-to-head versus 0-3. Yep. Now you look at it and you're like, Houston could be a game out of first place in this division next week, but I just don't think structurally they have figured out the offense. They got rid of Bobby Slowick. The new offensive coordinator, it doesn't quite gel yet, and that to me is a problem.
2 for 9 on 3rd down, sacked 4 times, 13 total pressures.
Yeah, the offensive line, that's what the offensive line killed him last year. They traded away Tunsil.
I didn't understand.
And, they hated the penalties, but he was still a very good player.
Okay, well, now getting sacked. Meanwhile, in Vegas, Justin Herbert dispatched of Geno and the Raiders 20-9, 2 touchdowns, while the Chargers defense flummoxed Geno. Here's Harbaugh postgame.
Hey, division game, on the road, 2-0. Can't be 3-0 unless you're 2-0. Winning football by the special teams, winning football by the offense, and guardians of victory. How about that defense?
AFC West odds have moved. Chargers now 1, Chiefs are 2, Broncos
with a big gap.
3.
That's a big gap. -110 to +270 is a big gap.
Raiders way back at 4. Do the Chargers deserve to be AFC West favorites?
Well, first, let me do my impression of Pete Carroll on the sideline yesterday. No!
This guy. We have a Raiders topic.
Gino!
We're doing the Raiders. We put a Raiders topic in the show just
How
for
many
you.
picks did he have?
I know, but
He had
this is going to be a
3.
Chargers.
I'm just saying, and I like Gino.
Well, then how are
he's
you-
a good
Bro,
quarterback.
how are you going to
Y'all
do the
think he's
Raiders
all
topic?
world. That's all I'm saying. All right,
Stay
here we
tuned
go.
where we hear that again.
37 passer rating, too. The Chargers, yes, they should be the favorite.
Wow.
Now, you used in the intro, you said, are they the team to beat? The Chiefs are still the team to beat. But the favorite to win the division, I think, is the Chargers.
So right now you'd pick them.
Yes.
I know I'm not asking you to change your pick.
No,
anything like that.
to win the division.
Yeah.
I mean, to win the division, I think
Yeah.
the Chargers are in great. One, they don't have the schedule, obviously, that the Chiefs have as a first-place team last year. So the Chiefs' schedule is a little bit tougher. That defense has kind of picked up where it was last year, where it was the best scoring defense in the league. It's been really good this year. And Herbert has just taken it to another level. And that receiving core, I thought all they had was Lab McConkey. But, Johnston.
Keenan Allen's been awesome.
Keenan Allen has, I don't want to say turn back the clock, but the fact that he was looking for a job just a few weeks ago, he's been good. Johnston's been good. Obviously, McConkey. They haven't even gotten their run game going yet. And I think Hampton is good. And obviously Najee Harris is pretty good. So that's a nice tandem in the backfield. I think Harbaugh is a fantastic coach.
Yep.
He really is. And so I am a believer. I think they are a Super Bowl contender. I kind of look at them like Tampa Bay. I like Baltimore and Buffalo. And in the playoffs, I'd say Kansas City better. But I think they're right there like a second-tier Super Bowl contender. So, yeah, I think they should be the favorites. 2-0 versus 0-2 and a head-to-head over the Chiefs.
I wonder, I disagree with Danny Parkins, but I tweeted out last night that Justin Herbert has entered the MVP conversation, the way too early MVP conversation. And you know, Danny's just looking for converts so he can lead us all to the Justin Herbertville. But Justin Herbert's problem has never been his arm. It's been a little between the ears, pressure, bad decision-making in big moments. If that's the leap that he's taking, like I don't think he's become a better physical football player. Maybe he's healthy. But if he's making better decisions, he just seems
last year,
confident and kind of cool now.
I mean, last year he made great decisions all year en route to only throwing 3 picks until the playoff game. So, like last year,
but he wasn't throwing that much.
Right, that's what I was going to say. The difference is, and what I'm sure Danny loves, is they're the pass-happiest team in the league right now. They are, by a large margin, lead the NFL in percent that they pass on first down in neutral game score situations. You know what I mean? They are leaning into him as a passer. And he's been excellent. And Brou's Ballot coming up at the end of the show, you know, a little before 5 o'clock Eastern, I would imagine he's on there. And if I had a ballot through 2 weeks, he would be on mine. Well, let's pump the brakes a bit. Because I understand 2-0 versus 0-2 with the head-to-head is massive. The head-to-head is, in a weird way more meaningful in Bills-Ravens than it is for Chiefs-Chargers right now because they're not playing again and the Chiefs-Chargers are.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
was that who was that home game? Was that
Chargers? It was their game. And so I'm just going to point out the things that concern me. I understand them wanting to lean more into Herbert. They seemed oddly allergic to running the ball yesterday, even in the game they were dominating. More on that in a second. I'm always going to worry about this team, not just because of the jerseys, but because of the age of some of their key players with injury. And Khalil Mack's in a sling. Keenan Allen has been great. I would be stunned if Keenan Allen plays the full season. And Herbert, yesterday, I am very consistent on this. I don't like my quarterback running. I don't like that Patrick's doing it now. And so Herbert, there were a couple of times yesterday he got lit up.
Yeah.
And I thought it was bad, that one.
This is a dirty is maybe too strong. It ends up being a dirty play. It's late. That's brutal, though. And then, and this gets to the game management stuff. Don't run the next tape yet if you can wait, Hubs, because I want to set it up. And this is my bigger concern, and we can stop playing this. I thought the Chargers, at the end of this game, it was some of the most baffling decisions I've seen a good coach make. If people, didn't stay up for it or weren't watching, because this was the late game, right? This was the one they did at 1 a.m. Eastern. They are up 11 with 9 minutes left in the game. They throw it incomplete twice and then go for a 4th down. Yep. Okay, and you know what I mean? All right, the Raiders then give it right back. They are then up 11 with 4 minutes left. They throw it incomplete again. Raiders then turn the ball over. They're up 11 with 3 minutes left. Fumble on the first play. Okay, that's a fumble. They are up 11 with 2 minutes left. And let me show you the play they run. Again, they're up 11 with 2 minutes left. The game is over. They call a designed run for Herbert. He had that weird slide, and you don't really see it fully here. He got up wincing and holding his back. I hated that. Like, I didn't understand. They signed Najee Harris. They drafted a guy in the first round. You're up 11 against a Raider team that's having its worst offensive game of Geno's life. Like, why they are not only asking Herbert to keep throwing, but putting him in jeopardy was perplexing to me. And so here would be my last point about the division. I just want to show you how both the Chiefs and the Chargers season ends. They play each other, and the Chargers have the Eagles, Cowboys, Texans, Broncos. Chiefs have Texans, Broncos, same, but instead of Eagles, Cowboys, Titans, Raiders. My question is this. How big of a lead do the Chargers need for you to feel the Chiefs aren't running them down? If that's the setup and they get them in Kansas City in Week 15. Like, you know what I mean? If the Chiefs go into that game, go into that stretch 7-6, and the Chargers are, what would that be? 10-3. Or I'm sorry, 9-3. So it would be, I guess I'm doing the math. 7-5 versus 9-3. Like, I would say I would like the Chiefs' chances there. And so I wouldn't print the T-shirts yet, even though they right now look like the best team.
Yeah, you're not going to obviously write the Chiefs off, but the Chargers look tough. And I'm shocked because they haven't missed Rashawn Slater. Maybe their run game, maybe they'd lean more into the run game if they had Slater.
Joe Alt's been great.
Yeah, but
passer rating 120, basically 128, second best in the NFL behind only Lamar. I think it's Goff and then Mac Jones got 5. Is Hurts still underrated? And more on, of course, Geno. Okay. Even though we were supposed to be talking specifically about the
that's
Chargers.
actually what Carol was doing. I didn't make that up.
A message from McAfee.
I'd say howdy, but I'm not a real cowboy.
And I'm not a real alien.
We're deep fakes, and because of fakes like us,
it's hard to tell what's real.
Unless you have McAfee. McAfee's scam detector automatically identifies text and email scams.
And even deep fakes.
And it works everywhere, even out on the range.
Yeehaw! But you're not even a real cowboy.
If they're faking it, they're not making it past us. Get award-winning scam detection today. McAfee.com/keepitreal.
Podcast doing great. Our YouTube channels are now posting long videos, like 30 minutes. What's the strategy behind it? 40 minutes?
Wow, it's great, Gianna. She's doing awesome.
People are loving those longer posts. Good job, Gianna.
And we have to goose the numbers because our average has been pulled down a bit by, well, I don't need to say.
Oh, what, your bad takes?
People love the bad takes. It's the solo index.
I didn't even do it today. Is Jalen Hurts actually underrated? Yes, according to new QB rankings from Jeff Howe in The Athletic. One rival executive. At this, now we're doing anonymous compliments.
Yeah, I know.
Just enough.
That's how you get the truth.
Compliments?
I'm just saying.
Sorry, I didn't even read it yet.
Sorry, go ahead and read it.
He's a killer. His toughness and makeup are so underrated. We concern ourselves so much about arm talent and then just completely underrate the intangibles at the position. From an anonymous executive.
Yeah, because he doesn't want people to hear.
Well, right. It's people in the league who's criticizing.
I guess so. Is anyone buying that Jalen Hurts is now underrated?
At this point, I think it's possible the pendulum has swung a bit too far in the other direction.
To where he's overrated?
Well, we were on Thursday and Friday of last week, Wilds was kicking around the conversation of just wanting to have the conversation, is he the best quarterback in football? And when I totally agree with the idea that it is a fool's errand to simply measure quarterbacks by how well they throw the football. I think that is, for most quarterbacks, the most important thing they do, but not for all. And I think there's a lot more to playing the position and winning than just that. And Hurts gets somewhere from an A to an A triple plus in basically every category but that one. Mm-hmm. But when that one, at least this year, has been as anemic as it's been, and it's not like last year where, well, the team's beating everyone by 30 and Saquon's, running for 2,000 yards, then I don't think through 2 weeks his standing should have improved. You know what I mean? And so if we put up the passing charts and then his season numbers, again, like that, there's week 1. It's a bunch of nothing, and then the pass to, was it Dotson? And then the one deep down the field. Week 2 was somehow worse. Really a bunch of nothing, and then the one pass to Devontae. And then his passing numbers, coach, are what they are as far as league ranks. I mean, again, if you are ranking him saying, and so this is why he's the 15th best quarterback, then yeah, he's way underrated. But I think his general ranking is about 8th. You know what I mean? And I think that's probably
Some might
about.
even have him higher.
Yeah, some might have him higher, but Wilds finds people who have him lower. So that's why I said, you know what I mean? Sure. To me, that's fair.
Yeah, I don't know if that's totally a compliment.
What?
Because they're sitting
From
there
the
saying,
anonymous executive?
yeah, he's completely underrated for his intangibles. Yeah, but and people overrate arm talent. So you're essentially saying, yeah, he's got great intangibles. He's not that guy. Not great skill, not great ability as a passer.
Yeah.
But he is underrated from an intangible perspective. Or I think more people are. I don't even know if he's even underrated there because people respect that part of his game so much. But the flip side of that is he's essentially saying, yeah, the arm talent part's not where you'd want it to be. And when you look at his numbers, and I know Kevin loves when I bring this up, but now we're at 17 games. We're in the last 17 games that they've won. He's thrown the ball more than 30 times once. Okay, so it's 7. Yeah. So there's a formula, and the formula isn't with him as being an elite passer. So as long as they can keep this running game intact and this defensive formula intact, and he's willing to manage it and not be caught up in trying to prove everybody wrong, then it's great. But I don't know if that's as nice a compliment as maybe it's poor.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's properly rated. Like, he's generally viewed as a top 10 quarterback. Mm-hmm. A couple years ago, he was second in the MVP race. So that's pretty high praise, coming from the media. And I think for those that want to, complain, oh, nobody loves Jay, nobody thinks he's as good as he is. The reason is because, the reason he's not viewed like Lamar, Josh, Patrick, and Joe Burrow is because he doesn't put up the numbers. Like, he's never thrown for 4,000 yards. He's never thrown 25 touchdowns in a year. He's never averaged 250 yards in a game, for a season. He's never had a passer rating of even 105. Like, he hasn't put up the numbers. And even though he's a dual threat quarterback and a very good runner, he's not Josh or Lamar
as far as
running
prolific,
the football.
Yeah.
Most of his running touchdowns are the tush push. And so I think he's great with the intangibles, which I measure highly, because if you look at like Brady and Joe Montana, these guys, their intangibles are off the charts, most of the best quarterbacks. And so I think that's very important. But I think he's properly rated.
If you inserted Lamar or Josh or Joe in let's see, Tennessee, they're probably going to dramatically change that organization. If you insert Jalen there, is he going to have that same impact, or is it going to have to be an impact that's felt 3 or 4 years down the road when they build up the defense and the running game? You put Lamar there, things change immediately. You put Josh there, things change immediately. You put, Jalen there, do they?
So do you think that's fair, KW?
I can never tell, because I don't think it's coming from a disingenuous place as like a thought exercise, and I like thought exercises. And I kind of agree with it. I feel like if you put Lamar on a team, and Lamar will be dynamic wherever, and it's very LeBron-esque. Like, LeBron will make put LeBron, prime LeBron anywhere, and that team is good. At the same time, I don't think Jalen Hurts should be penalized for finding a system that works and making that system work to its utmost potential. I also sometimes...
No, he should be credited for that, and credited for having enough selflessness to be able to maintain that mentality.
And then the other thing that I wonder is when we do the old switcheroo of quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts never gets to go to any of these other teams. It's like, man, put Lamar on the Eagles and watch what happens. It'd be the same thing. I'm like, can I play the game of put Jalen Hurts on the Ravens?
Well, Lamar does have
see how those playoff games.
It wouldn't be as good.
You don't think the Ravens? I don't think he's as good as Lamar, but I think the Ravens.
Oh,
would be
see,
good.
so that's interesting, because when Wild says, "See how those playoff games go," because when Coach said it, something kind of clicked in my brain, which is the greatest of the great players across sports drastically raise your floor and your ceiling.
Yeah.
Right? So when you mentioned peak LeBron, take the worst team in the league, get them playoffs.
They're in the playoffs.
And you put them on an excellent team, they're going to win the championship, whatever it is. You're talking about, I'm going to use Josh and Lamar specifically, as automatic floor raisers. You know what I mean? Drop them on a team and that team's life changes. What I think Wildes has credited Jalen as is a ceiling raiser.
Yeah.
And a guy that, because he's clutch, he plays his best in big spots, and you don't have to change. You don't have to placate almost his ego in how you call a game. Mm-mm. If you have a great team that, you know what I mean, doesn't need to pass first, you can be like, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. And so while I agree that the Ravens would not be the Ravens if with Jalen as Lamar, what they've been in these regular seasons over the course of the last few years, I think that awesome team they had 2 years ago that had hosted the AFC Championship game against Kansas City, I think that team might have had more success in that game with Jalen. And so that part I do think is, but would they have hosted the game with him? I understand that. And
but that's what's always confused me about a guy like Matthew Stafford, who I think is an outstanding quarterback, but for all those years in Detroit, he didn't have the impact on the organization that I would have expected to have with his ability.
Agreed.
So are we in unison? Jalen Hurts properly rated?
Properly rated as a top 5 quarterback.
Well, it's fluid. Everybody knows
no,
that.
fluid,
I mean, it's fluid.
No, it's a little battlefield promotion with Brou. Like, now he's definitely top. We're talking Mount Rushmore right now. Raiders dropped to 1-1. Geno threw the ball 40 times to the Raiders, 3 times to the Chargers, 180 yards total. Here he was after the game.
Those are things that I got to learn from and be better at. Anything that doesn't look right out there, you put that on my feet, put that on my shoulders. I feel like I got to be a lot better for our guys. I know I have to, and I will be.
Is it time, Nick, for you to abandon your adopted Raiders?
All right, let me say something. Hubs, our great executive producer, picked this question. He's a little rusty on questions. This is one of the dumbest questions we've asked.
Okay.
Really?
When I picked them to make the playoffs, I thought through 2 games they'd be 1-1. It's not like this has been some massive disappointment of a start of a season for the Raiders. This was an awful game from Geno. There's no way around it. And one of the reasons that Geno is, in my opinion, right in that top 10 discussion like we've talked about, but not firmly in there, he's somewhere from 9 to 12, is because his bad games. What do you?
Coach and I are looking at. I don't think Geno's in that.
No, I've said that. I've said
12.
No. I'm saying for
top
me.
15.
That's. But I'm saying I wasn't saying universally regarded. I'm saying for me. But what is preventing him from being firmly, clearly a top 10 quarterback is his bad games can be really bad, and this was one of the worst games he's played. The thing that happened yesterday, though, that was to me the most concerning was not Geno related, because I don't think he's going to play like this moving forward. It's the fact that the Raiders seem to be calling their plays like somebody else drafted a running back 6 overall. You know what I mean? That's the part. He had 11 carries. He never gets the ball on back-to-back downs. And I understand he right now, Coach, is a problem in pass protection. But, and I know you talked about him catching the ball, but let me...
I thought he was Earl
But hold on. Let me ask you this question.
What's his rushing at?
No. Yesterday he was good. The first game they won, he was not good that first game. But yesterday, hold on. Let me ask you a question. If you spend the 6th pick of the draft on a guy because he is a brilliant natural runner, there's an element of we don't care if us having him on the field signals we're running the ball. If we're running the ball, we're not giving it to Zamir White in 3rd and 2. We're giving it to the guy we picked 6th overall. Yeah. So that part, to me, he wasn't very good in game 1. Game 2, he was good running the ball, and he never got the ball.
I mean, he had 11 attempts for 43 yards, so he had 3.9.
That's not great.
No, it's better than what they were getting from anyone else yesterday.
Look, I do agree, Nick. I think what would help Geno a lot is if they could get the running game going. And I think if you do spend those types of resources on getting a running back, you should probably give him more than 11 attempts.
Thank you.
And maybe he's the type of guy that as the attempts increase, his production will increase. And he has shown the ability to break away, definitely in college. It just hasn't hit yet. And for Geno to be successful, they're going to have to establish a much stronger running game because it's just not going to work this way.
The Raiders are what I thought they were.
It's only 2 games for them.
That's what they are. They're certainly not one of the best 2 teams in the division. We'll see who's better between them and Denver. And, Pete Carroll, I think he knows how to handle running back, a great running back. He had Marshawn Lynch. So I like Genty, but, I didn't think he was going to come and take the lead by storm.
In a spot.
That's a big game.
Yeah, where it looks like Jayden might not be playing.
Beat up Commanders.
Right. And that would actually put them ahead of my schedule. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you'd be the Commander in the Chargers, we can't 30 minutes ago be talking about how the Chargers how great the Chargers defense is, in my opinion, and then kill Genty for only getting 40 yards on limited touches. Like that, you know what I mean? Like game 1, Genty wasn't good. I would just expect them to feed him.
2 worst running teams in the league. Bengals are last. Raiders are second to last.
Yeah.
124 total yards on the ground. Bills dispatched of the Jets so thoroughly, we didn't even have them in the show yesterday. Josh threw for under 150. James Cook gashed the Jets, 132 yards, 2 touchdowns. Buffalo by 20. They are now the sole Super Bowl favorites. Ravens were tied with the Bills. Bills, Ravens, Packers, Eagles. Chiefs dropped down to plus 1,400, tied
So
with
the Chiefs
the
have the
Lions.
5th best Super Bowl odds?
Oddly, the 5th best Super Bowl odds, but the 2nd best odds in the AFC West.
Yeah.
Do the Bills deserve to be the favorites?
Look, yes. They beat the Ravens. I mean, I think the Ravens, obviously that's my pick in the AFC. I think the Ravens did outplay the Bills for most of that game, obviously. But the Bills not only beat them in that game, but they've beaten them the last 2 times at least that they played, obviously last year in the playoffs. The Bills are lined up for the number 1 seed because the division's not as tough, so the schedule's not as tough. So, yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, I disagree with that. I understand that they beat the Ravens. The Ravens are my pick. I'm a Baltimore guy.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that you're wearing the tie.
But I don't see how Philly couldn't be the favorites at this point. And the fact that they were a little underwhelming to open up against Dallas, but that's the first game of the season. I think if roles reversed and they played Kansas City first and then Dallas second, it would have been different. Mm-hmm. Like Buffalo played Baltimore first and then moved into the Jets. And to get out of the AFC is going to be a lot tougher, I think, than it's going to be for Philly to get out of the NFC and to get back to the Super Bowl.
Do they factor in, because you know how they do the lines, do they factor in that it's just so hard to repeat as champion?
No, no.
I was thinking the same thing because it only happened 2 times.
I mean, I don't think that's part of the math on this is really just where money's coming in and who people believe in. They certainly factor in path. Right now, this is an indicator to me that Vegas truly believes Buffalo is going to be the 1 seed, even though we're just 2 weeks in. And that is such a massive edge as far as your chances of winning the championship, not just because you have home field, but skipping that game is, you know what I mean? And Buffalo, obviously, since Josh has been there, they've never had a bye. Right. Because early in his career, when there were 2 byes, they never got to the 2 seed, and they've never been the 1 seed. They've been the 2 seed a number of times, never been the 1 seed. And I think it's a pretty smart bet that they'd get the bye. Like if you look at their schedule compared to Baltimore's, and Kansas City is not eliminated from it, but at 0-2 for Kansas City to get the bye, honestly, they probably have to go 13-2 the rest of the way. You know what I mean? And so
they don't have they got 1 world beater in their first 10 games outside of Baltimore.
And it's at home.
Like, look at that, the Chiefs.
No, and honest to God,
I mean, they have pretty good.
They have on their entire schedule the rest of the way 3 teams that we all agree are good. And I don't even know if you guys agree the Chiefs are good, but in the Chiefs, you know what I mean? The Chiefs, Bucs, Eagles. That's it.
Yeah, and Bengals.
Bengals won't have Joe Burrow. Like and so that to me is. And let me say one other thing that I think maybe juiced their odds a bit. There is now, some would believe, I'm not one of them, but a universe that exists where Buffalo could get to the Super Bowl and never have to play Kansas City.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that is, you know what I mean? I think that is, because I do think they're, go ahead, Coach.
Yeah, I just don't think that Baltimore is some kind of buy for them either.
No, I'm not, no, I'm not saying that, but
it's a pretty rough group in the AFC versus the NFC.
So that's the thing you said that I actually disagree with this year. Over the last few years, to me, it's been very clear, if there is a JV conference, it's the NFC. This year, I look at it as the AFC has 3 proven teams, one of whom's 0-2, and now we're kind of semi-elevating the Chargers in that room. I think right now the NFC has 6 teams that, you know what I mean, are scary.
Who are the 6 scary teams to you?
Philly, Green Bay, Detroit, Tampa, the Rams, and I'm leaving one out. Oh, your Commanders potentially. You know what I mean? Or the Niners, depending on their health and Purdy back. You know what I mean? They're already 2-0. Like, there's certainly in the NFC right now less cross-offs. Mm-hmm. And the AFC to me has a bunch of cross-offs. And so, like, the Bengals being
not as high on some of the teams that you're listing as. We know that Baltimore is going to be a problem. We know that Buffalo always has a problem with Kansas City. They're going to have to face one of them, where the other groups, they sort of ebb and flow.
I think, tell me.
Philly's so consistent.
If you agree with me, Brou, the conference championship portion of the playoffs might be harder in the AFC, but the wild card round portion of the playoffs, you know what I mean? I think it could be harder in the AFC.
Herbert climbing up the mountain next.
Live from New York. It's the show that probably thinks Shador should have gone to Baltimore.
No, that's one thing you can't
I don't.
I think it.
This is when
He's
not
never
everybody
would have
show.
played.
We all
He's not playing in Cleveland.
but he might at some point.
He will be.
He will probably play at some point this year.
I think learning under Lamar Jackson.
Learning for what? You're gonna Lamar if it stays healthy, he's gonna be there the next 8 years.
It worked for J-Lo, your guy. It worked for
Aaron Rodgers was older.
Yeah, they were on They were on their way out. Like I think
you know
drafted by the Rams would have been amazing.
Yes,
you know what I mean? But Lamar, your only hope is that you look awesome in a preseason game in 2 years,
and they trade you.
Someone trades you.
Yeah, like this guy's ready to go.
Yeah,
now you're on
you
the
gotta
Browns.
learn it.
No.
What's the ceiling for the Browns?
He's their
He
starter.
could be the starting quarterback
one day.
there.
They haven't had a good quarterback in decades.
Really?
Right.
Oh, really?
Who?
Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield was not Bucs Baker Mayfield.
No, but he was good. They won 11 games, won a playoff game.
He was so good they got rid of him.
Well, because they're incompetent.
His ads were awesome.
Yeah.
And
Push,
he didn't
push.
know
All
he
right,
was going to the
KW.
Browns when he rejected the Ravens.
This tush push thing is going to backfire in the entire league. It's official from me.
Okay.
Meanwhile, has Baker scrambled his way to a top spot on Brou's MVP ballot?
That was
we discussed, but right now it's time to start the climb.
Listen to this guy.
The wind hurts at the top of the mountain. Some QBs are all in. Some cry out, Geno! Still others try to burrow away. Mac Jonesing for a safety ward somewhere to take cover from the blitz of the unrelenting flurry of ice and criticism. Alas, we press Scott on with a new tumultuous climb up Mahomes Mountain.
Well done, leader.
That was outstanding.
That was excellent.
See, can I ask you a question though, KW?
Yeah.
At the end, did you forget a line?
What was it?
What you just kept saying tumultuous, and then
I didn't know how to say tumultuous.
Oh, okay.
How many syllables does tumultuous have?
Tumultuous 4.
4, you think?
You nailed it. Definitely. I don't
Tumultuous.
think
I thought 1.
Time to climb the mountain.
That was great. All right, so here's the deal. This is tricky and a little sad, to be honest.
Oh, no.
No, I'm being sincere. If you are expected to miss multiple weeks, you're at least temporarily just off the mountain. You know what I mean? Because I don't like to
You're in the medical tent. You can't.
Yeah, you're in the medical tent. You can't climb. What am I going to drop you in a game you don't play? I don't know.
Not fair.
If your status is unknown and you might miss, you can stay on there. Like Jayden. Jayden might miss this week, but we're not sure. But so that means Burrow is just off. J.J. McCarthy, for the time being, is off. And so that's where we're at. So with that said, if you're a true healthy starting quarterback and you didn't make the mountain, it's a tough one. There's some back Purdy off, Brou. Tua, Rattler, and Bryce couldn't make the Mountain. Wow. He's off. I'm sorry. Wow. And if he had a chance to be on, these press conferences are not helping him. No. What I imagine is going to happen Thursday night is not going to help him. And Carson Wentz, I think, setting a record, starting a game for his 6th team. Congrats, I guess.
I'm not sure what happened.
You're off the mountain.
Yeah,
Bottom row of the mountain.
Let's go.
Michael
We're back.
Penix drops a bit. Bo Nix, weird spot, because Bo Nix was truly awful in week 1, but they won. He was excellent in week 2 until he threw a back-breaking pick and they lost. He just stays where he is. Cam Ward,
Little flash.
A moment, a great play that could come back and get him. Justin Fields, I felt badly, to be honest, dropping him because he got concussed, but obviously the team, I don't know, it is what it is. Joe Flacco stays where he is. Jake Browning, I don't know, bro. He's chucking it. It's fine. They won.
It'll be exciting.
And KW.
What a day.
KW.
What a great day.
Matt Jones.
I never thought there was an alternate reality where this day never happened.
Yeah. But
We're back.
That was the vast majority of alternate realities. Mac Jones is never on a mountain.
We're just starting the climb.
If he plays well, he could get with another team.
He's on his Baker climb.
Or maybe not.
Okay.
Learning under the feet of
all right,
somebody.
so now we get to the top 21. We'll call it the top 20. Row 6. Aaron Rodgers has to drop. I think had 2 picks and like 140 yards when he on more than 2.5 seconds to throw. It was really bad.
The one pick was all Calvin Austin.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was all that kid.
Great
that young whippersnapper.
Right.
KW, Drake May. He played really well in this game.
Yeah.
Like, I give him credit. Kyler had one of the most indefensible interceptions of the year, but aside from that, played well. Russ, obviously, despite Rex Ryan saying couldn't play dead in a Western, and they were doing wrong by the team by starting him. He then throws for almost 500 yards.
Awesome.
He also had a bad pick at the end. Caleb and Trevor, mixed bag for both of them. Like, more of a mixed bag for Trevor, to be honest. More highs and more lows. Caleb was just okay, but I can't drop them down where they are. They are where they are. To the top 15. CJ hanging on to a top 15 spot, but barely at the moment. Jayden hasn't been bad this year. He's not been great yet, though. And I'm now, worried about his health. He drops a bit. Geno obviously has to drop. He had 3 picks, one of the worst games of his life. Listen, I think it is short-lived. And I'm sad Greg Jennings isn't here to be able to bask in it. But Daniel Jones, it reminds me a lot of Derek Carr and the Saints last year, starting 2-0 and setting offensive records. Yeah. But it is what it is. It's a rich tapestry and it's fluid. Daniel Jones moves up and Sam Darnold moves up as well. He gets a little boost by the Vikings, how they've looked on offense 7 of the 8 quarters without him. Good KW, a quarter of a classic one.
Thank you.
Row 4. Listen, KW.
I didn't say anything.
You can all you want.
You know what I'm talking about. I might be talking about.
You can't.
You're on deck, huh?
You can't have. No one gets everything they want in life. And part of one of the reasons we all say Jalen Hurts is such a great leader and so selfless is because he's okay with having no stats. We're complimenting his character for that.
That's true.
Good point.
One of the reasons it's selfless is because things like sliding down the mountain happen when you're averaging 100 yards a game. It's just what it is. Jordan Love stays where he is. Jared Goff hangs a 50-piece without Ben Johnson. And Dak's been cooking all year, just to be totally clear. I think Dak's played great. Row 3. Baker, I wanted to move you higher, to be honest with you. I couldn't. Herbert, this is his highest place ever on the mountain. My guy, Matt Stafford, after an okay, not great week 1 against a great defense, was really good in week 2, and you saw the full Puka and Devontae combo. Do not reveal the next row yet. Good question in life. Kind of cliche. What do you get the person who has everything? Well, the greatest quarterback I've ever seen turns 30 tomorrow. I'm lucky enough to consider him 2/3 of a friend. close. Not enough to where I think he'd lend me money, but enough that, you know what I mean? If I'm in town, I let him know. What could I get him? Here's what I can get Patrick Mahomes. A hefty dose of motivation.
Wow.
For the first time in quite some time, reveal row 2, Patrick, not at the top of the mountain. Got a must-win game coming up against the Giants. Josh played well, but it's more about what Lamar did, and Josh's numbers just were, they didn't have to be, and Lamar's numbers have been so great. And top of the mountain's Lamar, and after that must-win game in week 3, Patrick, guess who you have coming to Kansas City?
Oh, what?
The guy ahead of you on the mountain with a chance to reclaim your spot and remind everyone who the hell you are. But for the time being, Lamar Jackson, who is a couple votes away from potentially being, the leading candidate for a 3rd straight MVP at the moment, he is atop Mahomes Mountain.
What a day.
That is quite a
Wow.
What a day. It's fair.
The mountain is fair.
I can't believe we're here. Mac Jones is on there.
I am so happy that I'm here today to be able to share this day with you.
The mountain's fair.
It is very fair. So I'm gonna support my partner who's not here, Greg Jennings, and I'm moving my friend.
Higher?
Daniel
Yep,
Jones?
I'm moving Daniel Jones up.
Wow.
And why? You want to know why?
Yes, I do want to know why.
Okay. First time since 1977 they go through the first game of the season, no punts. Okay? Pretty important. Okay? First 2 games, okay, scored every possession. They scored every possession versus the Dolphins. That was since 1977. But this is also the first time a team's gone through the first 2 games without any punts. That's also very impressive in the Super Bowl era. Then you factor in that they've got the 3 drives in the second game, so they scored 10 straight drives in a row. Okay, so there's that impressive feat. And I think he's channeling his inner Jalen Hurts. Good running game, good defense, and he's managing the process, and he's bringing them to wins.
But he's throwing a lot more than Jalen Hurts.
He is. But who would you move? Let's compare.
So you're moving him
Let's
up.
compare him to
Jordan
the guy
Love.
you'd have to move down. Okay, Jordan Love.
Oh, wow.
So look at the statistics. This is two games, and this is without Micah Parsons. He doesn't have Micah Parsons on his team. So he's got a better completion percentage.
He is cooking.
He's got a better pass yards per
everything,
game.
better everything.
Right on down the line. No Micah Parsons. They're still finding a way to win. Everybody had pretty much given him up for dead. And we know that the formula where you manage the team with a good running game and a good defense, and you can be considered, a top 10 quarterback.
Wow.
All right, Coach, it's a great case you made there. And
Greg, I hope you're watching.
I now have a bit of a personal question for you.
Okay.
Because you weren't always, as established and well-to-do as you are now. You ever have bad credit at any point in your life?
No.
Never? Okay. Well, I have.
Never.
Ever. Yeah, you never. Good for you.
Yep.
Here's the thing, and this is a note for kids out there as well. If the credit gets bad enough, it doesn't really matter how great of a payment history and how great your credit looks for a year, even 2. Yeah. There's a ceiling on how high it can get until there's been a long time since that bankruptcy proceeding or that defaulted, that repossessed car. Daniel Jones has not yet moved far enough away from having, a lien on his house and his car repossessed for us to be comfortable with him being top 10 on the mountain.
I think that's fair.
Even though up to this point in the season, you know what I mean, he deserves an 800 credit score.
And what's Jordan Love done?
Jordan Love's been fine. Look, he just showed the numbers. Jordan Love's been good. He hasn't turned the ball over.
He has been good, but
He hadn't been nearly as bad as Jones.
His
Listen,
credit's been so impressive.
Well,
over the course of his
here's the
career.
thing.
He
doesn't have any bankruptcies. He hasn't had to show up in debtor's prison the way Daniel Jones
for
has.
15 years before he had to play.
That's true.
He's 40.
Okay. All right, go ahead, bro.
Well, first of all, I wanted to ask you what made you put Lamar above Josh. But I get you said it at the end, like, because if Patrick beats
that's not why.
Ravens,
I mean,
no. It'll be an easy
There's
follow.
always an angle.
No. That was an added bonus. Honestly, it was simply that, and this is not totally fair to Josh. because they took their foot off the gas. You know what I mean? They had such an easy lead.
He didn't
have a huge game. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's for his yards or touchdowns or anything. And Lamar just accidentally threw for 4 touchdowns in a game that Derrick Henry didn't do anything against a defense that we thought could present some problems. So that's what it was.
I respect for moving Mahomes down, but you didn't move him down.
Oh my God! All right, now we've gone
I'm
too
gonna keep
far.
it real. And I get it. It's a rich tapestry, Coach.
Brou.
So I understand the past history, which isn't that far ago, right?
Yeah.
Just last year, you made the Super Bowl. But it can't be all history.
Yeah.
Like, he's run the ball well, but he hadn't really played that well this year, certainly through the air. So I'm just moving him down one more row, and I'm switching him and Justin Herbert.
That's too much.
No, I mean, Herbert has been phenomenal.
Head to head.
Top 3
Well, no, I'm just saying right now, I still think Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league, but right now, we got to look, games, to quote Nick Wright,
games have to
matter.
That's true.
Right?
But Brou wants the mountain to mirror Brou's ballot, I fear. That's what I think is happening.
I mean, the ballot is coming later, but
Yes.
Herbert's top 5 in everything. He's number 3 in pass yards per game, 280 a game. Number 2 in passer rating to Lamar, 127.8. Number 2 in touchdowns with 5, and he's got no interceptions. Second in yards per attempt, which, I know you respect that, 9.2. And he's 4th in completion percentage. And again, we didn't think this was a great receiving core. They haven't had a run game yet. And he's still, everybody knows he's throwing it, and he's still having big success. So I got to move Herbert up right now and move Mahomes just down. You talk about motivation.
Yeah.
This is motivation for Patrick Mahomes.
That would cross the line from motivation to outright insult.
No.
And it is Brou, as you know, it is not left to right, obviously. Coincidentally, if there was a quarterback that I was moving up, it would have been Baker.
Over Herbert?
Yes. I think
Baker's been clutch, but his numbers aren't terrific.
He has 5 touchdown passes, right?
98 passer rating.
Doesn't Herbert have 5 touchdowns?
Herbert's got 5.
No, but
Herbert's
numbers, other than touchdown passes, numbers are better. But I think Baker.
But Baker's been great.
Yeah.
I got no criticism of Baker.
I have no idea where this guy's going.
I'm not talking about Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
And I'm not talking about Mac Jones. And I'm not talking about Patrick Mahomes because I'm beloved in Kansas City. I am going to offer a life lesson and try to move Drake May up. I'd like to switch Drake May with Sam Darnold.
Wow.
That's not that big of a leap.
Darnold was your guy. I know May is too, but
for the record, for the 100th time, Sam Darnold is not my guy.
Gianna, put a poll out there. Is Sam Darnold Kevin Wilde's guy?
He's not my guy. I just thought it was silly to just shoo away 14 wins and 4,300 yards. And surprise, surprise, I was right. But he's not my guy. I would like to move Drake May up there. We now have Drake May is starting to get rolling here. We have the stats for his first 12 complete games. He got injured a decent amount, coming in late or leaving early. These are 12.
Wow, that yards per rush is plummeting, huh? It's really plummeting.
I said, Josh, he ran away from Judon and scored a touchdown. I'd like to run the yards per rush and then, hit the Randall Cunningham, Mike Vick stat.
Nice.
Josh vetoed it.
Oh, really?
He's like, that was kind of a last year thing, and we don't have enough rushing yards. And I said, fine, Josh, we're in a relationship. I'm going to mention it, but he's like, yeah, but he's not even at 100. I said, fine. Also accurate. Most 80% completion games since the start of last season. Goff is going crazy. Jayden, Bake Show, Drake May, Tua. So he can run.
It's a bit of a mixed bag graphic.
Well, Tua?
Yeah.
Well, what about Goff?
That's like I said, bit of a mixed bag.
That's interesting.
Goff has some perfect games.
Yeah, I know.
I think Goff's
in the positive category. Tua's in the negative category.
Just Tua. It's okay.
Well,
also, since it's a rich tapestry, I do a little projection. A lot of people don't like this, but I do a little projection to get in early on stuff like an influencer. Going up against the Steelers in Foxborough. Now, the mighty Steelers defense, gettable.
Yes, that
3
part's true.
touchdowns from Justin Fields, 2 from Sam Darnold. Passer rating, well, what's that equal out to? About 110. So Drake should have a big game with Aaron Rodgers in Foxborough. Also, the Wilds family will be in attendance.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah.
That is bad news for Monday's show, guys.
Why?
Buddy.
If we win?
No.
I'm locked in.
Buddy,
Don't worry about me. I will be.
You can't. You have a hard enough time following the whole league if you're at home with all the games on.
I will be
much
locked
less
in.
you're at a game none of us care about.
You don't care about Aaron Rodgers?
You're not going to be watching when the Steelers have the ball. Yes. You're going to be taking your boys to concessions.
No,
you're going to be like, we got to
no.
be back
No.
for Drake May possessions.
They can go. They can get on their own.
Listen.
Get ready for Drake May to start calling.
I do mostly believe in Drake May. Now, is a large part of that because of the year he was born and how tall he is? Yes.
That's okay.
But I like the traits. I think it is fair to say week 1, he was bad. And week 2, I thought he was quite good. And so I think where he is, I don't think yet putting him in the top 15.
That's why I got a dose of projection.
Kevin, I think it's perfect because I think they're the same guy.
Who?
Drake May and Sam Darnold.
Oh, wow.
You nailed it.
That's not
Coach, he can't move. He can't move. Sam Darnold doesn't run like Michael Vick. He doesn't. No one ever sees Sam Darnold like that. Reminds me of Michael Vick. When you watch Drake May, you're like, what in the world? I thought he was coaching Norfolk State. Sunday, Fox doubleheader, playoff rematch, Rams versus Eagles. Then America's game of the week, and an early must-win for Ben Johnson and Caleb.
Must-win tomorrow is going to be crazy. There's some real must-wins.
What's your
The Chiefs are in one.
Oh my gosh. Cowboys, Bears, 4 o'clock on
They don't
Fox.
win that.
Yeah, there's a problem, buddy.
Quick no huddle
Yeah.
here. Talking about
This whiny
the Tush
baby.
push. Replay showing the Eagles' false start on one of the Tush pushes.
On most of them.
Really?
There was how many did they run?
7.
You think there's 4?
There was 4 where they were either lined up offsides or full start.
It looks like when you look at that one though, everybody's in the neutral.
Exactly.
Offense,
All
defense.
the internet ref watchers
Everybody.
smell blood in the water. And there it is. Maybe they've always been cheating, but here's Sirianni.
They definitely.
The one clip I saw of it was slowed down so much that I'm not sure you can see that to the naked. I mean, it was slowed down so much, and I get how we can manipulate things and show things like that, but it was slowed down so much. It was like, right? But we have to be we understand that we have to be perfect on that play.
Okay, good. Then be perfect moving forward because here's the play he's talking about that Tom Brady said 2 guards false started on. We all can agree, and we can show it to you at the speed. I don't know if we can go full here, Hubs, or not. This is at the speed he's talking about. It's way too slow. So go ahead and run that at 2x. And let's see. I can tell. Oh, here it is. Let's see it. Here it is at 2x. Let's just see. Can you tell? I can tell. What about 3x, Hubs? Can we still see that the 2 guards jump way? Okay, I can tell there too.
You can?
That the center doesn't move and
This is a bad look.
I don't know if the audience is
We
like,
can't
yeah,
go
right.
back and okay, if you want to say they're offsides, the Chiefs are in the neutral zone.
No, but
Everybody's all
here's
over
the thing.
place.
So here's the problem. You're saying the Chiefs are in the neutral zone. So that's the other piece of it that's just wrong. We'll show you an overhead look of a different one. The neutral zone.
But what about this one? I'm not
right.
about
So
a different
I don't.
one. Look at that. Look at 95.
Right, and that's my point. That's not the neutral zone, and that's the problem. The neutral zone is where the ball is, and you don't.
So 51's over the ball on the Eagles.
50,
yeah.
Right. The ball is under 51's numbers, and his right guard is in the neutral zone. So that's the other edge, which is why one of the reasons they're so much more effective. The defense is honoring the neutral zone. The offense is in it, and the refs can't see anything. So again, like I know you said this is a bad look. I don't know why.
I didn't say
okay.
It sounds like, I mean, I don't, the revisionist history, like the Chiefs or the Eagles been cheating all these past several years on this play. I don't want to hear that.
To be clear, hold on. I just want to make this
because
very
yesterday
clear.
you were saying they've been cheating.
No. So if I said the word cheating,
or
I
you know,
retract
doing
it. I think they have been getting. It's been very
last
clear.
4 years or however long it's been.
I wonder what Nick's argument would be if the Kansas City Chiefs.
Right. I mean, come on. No, I don't want to hear that.
Hold on.
They've been bulldozing people, including the Chiefs.
Okay, so
that's all it is.
Hold on. This is where I will get upset because I am on the record 4 years ago, before the Chiefs and Eagles ever played a single game that mattered, how much I hated this play.
That's fine, but you said yesterday, you talked yesterday like they've been, for lack of a better term, cheating, getting away with
cheating
stuff
was the word that I said in the news read.
Not cheating. So to be clear,
more of like a
I think I don't think it is cheating. I think they have recognized that they get away with it, and so they lean into it. I do think, and I've said on this show, that they jump early and they line up in front. I've said that
all the time.
With regularity. I don't know. It's certainly not every single one. With regularity, and to be clear, for my money, the Eagles have beaten my team in one game ever that mattered, and that game they didn't need the tush push. The Super Bowl, they were very effective on it. The Chiefs won. I don't really, you know what I mean? I'm not as worked up about Sunday's game as other people. I am focusing on it because it sometimes takes the broadcast shining a light on it for the league to take notice. And that's what I think is happening. And Sirianni playing patty cake with the video was slowed down so much. That's not what I believe to be true.
I wish we could live in a time where every time someone disagreed with something, they don't say it's been manipulated. Like the video is the video, and they probably did leave early, but that's always going to be the case. You're going to push the rules as far as you can push them until somebody does something about it. This is a really hard thing to officiate. I get the problem that the officials have because the guy could have moved the ball slightly when the guards moved, but it's kind of underneath him, so you can't really see it. I imagine at the end of the day, because it's so hard to officiate, that's probably what's going to kill this.
I agree.
But I don't think it's cheating because we've seen so many other teams do it ineffectively.
The word cheating is.
So it's hard to.
It's taking advantage with what the league will let you get away with.
Exactly.
And my question is the league going to crack down on it?
I think that's a good question.
I do think this is the last year we'll see it.
I'm talking about during the year that they're going to be called for procedural penalties.
They're going to have.
It might be this week.
Yes.
This week, but I don't think they're going to get called for it because I think the Eagles are going to be super buttoned up on it. So if anything, I think they're going to be more buttoned up and be like, we can do this. Here's the tweet from the Eagles social media, where I do think this has also given the Eagles a little bit of, they hate us because they ain't us type motivation.
Yeah.
Since you guys like these slow-mo videos so much, we made another one. Saquon tweeted or had something on Instagram. Lane Johnson had something. It's a little bit of like us against the world now.
Sure.
That I think is going to benefit the Eagles.
So I buy that. Here is, if I may just quickly say, I think two things could happen based on the added scrutiny of it. One is, you're right, Wilds, and they will make sure not to jump and not be lined up in front, and I think that will make it less effective. I think it will still be a good play, but not this unstoppable, perfect play the way it has been. And the other thing that could happen is if they're like, man, we're going to run it the way we've always run it, the penalty of a false start on a 4th and 1 on your own 34 is a turnover.
Right.
But you know what I mean? Because now you're punting. Yeah. You know what I mean? And the penalty of a false start on a 4th and goal from the inch line, when it's an automatic touchdown, is 4 points. And so I just think it's so dramatically punitive because they get it every time in spots they otherwise would just be giving the ball away. I don't think it takes them getting called in it a bunch for it to have a real knock-on effect.
The Chiefs did a better job Sunday of defending it. Like they stopped it twice, I believe, and some of the ones they got, it was really close.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Jayden Daniels not a guarantee to start this weekend when the Commanders take on the Raiders. Let's take a listen to Dan Quinn with an update.
I know lots of the questions will be about our QB, but I can say here's what I know. And when I say that, it's all really that I know. So he did have an MRI and he has already begun his return to play process with us. He is truly day-to-day. What does that mean for Sunday? I can't tell you that now.
Bro, the 1-1 Commanders in trouble.
I don't think they're in trouble right now, but, you go down, if they go 1-2 because Jayden can't play, I think the biggest concern for me if I'm the Commanders is this is his second year. His second year, he's taking a hit. And I know you're probably going to expound on it, Nick, but, he runs so much and he takes some shots. And even if he can play, if he's limited, like last year he played through it, but he had that stretch where he was limited. So that would be a concern. Look, offensively, I think they're fine, but they haven't gotten McLaurin going, so you expect that to pick up. They haven't gotten their run game outside of Jayden going, and now Eckler, is on IR. So there's some concerns there. I didn't think they were a top-tier Super Bowl contender this year anyway. I think they're a contender, but I think there's a few teams ahead of them, and they kind of look like I've expected from them.
Yeah, so going into the season, my concern is them being the oldest team in the league, that there's an injury problem, or could be an injury problem. That usually happens around mid-season with older teams. But what's happened with these guys is Jayden's hurt, but they've also lost 2 starters to season-ending injuries. They've got 3 other guys that are going to miss time. Last year, all season, they had 1 starter miss a total of 9 games.
They were the healthiest team in the league.
So they're incredibly healthy, and already at the start of the done. 3 guys that are going to miss time. Jayden, we don't know where he is, and this is still an older team. So as the games stack up, odds are that number is going to increase, not decrease. So that's problematic. That's a concern.
Yeah. The Thursday night was brutal for him, man. They lost Wise for the year. We think they lost Eckler definitely for the year, and Jayden got banged up. And listen, the least, as far as if people think like our takes are thought out by like what's the best strategy for TV, the worst strategic take is I think this player is really good, but I don't trust he's going to be healthy long term, because if you're proven right, you don't get to be like, I told you so. And so, but my concerns about Jayden's frame, particularly married with his style, is those exist. And last year, to Brou's point, the only part of the year he wasn't brilliant was when his ribs were banged up, where he now didn't get through 2 weeks of this year without a knee sprain. Again, the knee sprain might have nothing to do with his frame, but it certainly could have something to do with his style.
And the rib, even if he was a little heavier, it's not like...
Well, I don't know, Coach. Coach, I'm telling you right now, if you and I both get tackled by the same force, I think you handle it better than me. The Commanders are in a tenuous spot because of those injuries that Coach is talking about, and I don't think they have this team that is built to handle, that can just, sustain without their star quarterback. You know what I mean? I think that they'd be in deep, deep trouble. So all of that concerns me.
All right, Ben Johnson, 0-2, but is optimistic about Caleb as the Bears try to get a win against Dak this Sunday on Fox. Here's the Bears coach on his quarterback. Take a listen.
I did see significant growth. It's not perfect yet. There's still a number of plays where our eyes aren't quite in the right position, or we're holding on to the ball just a tick longer than what we're coaching. But I did see tremendous growth in terms of going through the progression.
Okay, Brou, in your eyes, is Caleb headed in the right direction?
I think he looks a lot like he looked last year. People forget, you mentioned yesterday, Coach, they were 4-2. And he had some big games last year.
Yeah.
He had 4 touchdowns against your Jags.
Yeah.
He had 300 yards against Detroit.
He had a big game against Minnesota and Brian Flores.
Yeah. So he's faced 2 of the top 2 good defenses this year, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. He's been fine. I trust that with Ben Johnson, it is going to get better. But I'm saying so far, I would say he looks fine, but I don't know if I see a bunch of progress from last year, because he had his moments last season too.
Yeah, and last season was 20 touchdowns and 6 picks. They started off strong. They had the Hail Mary game, the 2 games they lost. Both those games were close. And when you watch them this season, There are a bunch of throws where you're like, wow, that's an impressive throw. That's a really good throw. The mistakes, which to me he can completely control, running around and then throwing it inbounds where it gets picked, and the other pick that got called back because of roughing the passer. Those things need to be eliminated, and I don't think it's something that he can't fix. I do think he can. I think with Ben Johnson and this system, he's got an offensive-minded head coach who's also the offensive coordinator. That should lead to some growth as well. We want so much from young quarterbacks so quickly, and there's so much hype when a guy comes in that anything less than exceptional is considered a disappointment. He may just be taking longer than other guys, but I wouldn't sell my stock in Caleb yet. You know, it's down, but I wouldn't sell.
Listen, I didn't sell all of it. I was just over-indexed. Yeah. I was overexposed. I was worried about a margin call, and I was like, let me just diversify some risk here. I personally would argue, and I think you will think this is fair, that if there were not the coming into the league expectations, that we would not look at him as clearly behind any of the quarterbacks in his class but Jayden. Now, the one person that there might be argument of that is Bo Nix, but and maybe I'm just an extremist on where I see Bo Nix. I think he's a polarizing player, but I don't think people are down on Drake May. No. And you know what I mean? Drake May to me has of the 4 games between Caleb and Drake this year, Drake has the best and the worst, and Caleb has the second and the third. You know what I mean? Spots on it. What is positive is in both games, he's been exceptional in that opening script. You know what I mean? Ben Johnson scripted first 15. And I honestly think that is a good step. And you know what I mean? And then being able to,
He struggled kind of after that.
He struggled after that, and I personally believe Caleb's biggest issue right now is emotional maturity. I think his biggest issue right now is accepting that there are going to be 2 or 3 plays a game that I just butcher. You know what I mean? And not letting that, throw him off.
Right, carry over into the rest of the game.
What is this?
This is this Benson Boone guy.
Who's that?
He's like a sexy guy.
Why are we playing his music?
Because we cleared it.
Wait, what is that?
He's got his shirt off. He's doing backflips.
Well, I understand, but what does that have to do with our show?
I don't know.
What? No, you got to explain to me what just happened.
Tomorrow, it's the greatest segment in all of sports television, Nick's Tears. Also, listen to it on the podcast and YouTube.
Baker, now 2-0, has thrown the second most touchdowns since the start of last year. He's tied for 7th best odds for MVP. But let's see if he appears on one of the most esteemed segments in all of sports media. It's time for Bru's Ballot.
With also the creepiest graphic. the blinking Lamar Brou.
I want to hear y'all thoughts on this because, like I said, it might be controversial. And at number 5, J-Lo. Now, I thought about Daniel Jones, but here's the thing. It's a tapestry, and this is not like what I'm predicting will happen. These are my MVPs at this point. However, I expect Daniel Jones to fade. I don't expect J-Lo to fade. So I think he'll still be around. Obviously, 2 big wins, 4 touchdowns, no picks. He's clean. So J-Lo at number 5. At number 4, Josh Allen.
Wow.
Josh Allen was number 1 last week. Drops to number, didn't have to do much against the Jets. Wasn't particularly great, his numbers for sure. So he drops to number 4. At number 3, Baker. And here's the thing. Baker has been incredibly clutch. The 2 game-winning drives to start the season against good teams, competitive teams. He's been great in the clutch. His numbers are solid. He's got the 5 touchdowns, no picks. But he doesn't, passer rate is 98, hadn't thrown for a ton of yards, but he's been incredibly clutch. At number 2, Lamar. All right.
Shocking.
6 touchdowns, leads the league. 136 passer
the only
rating,
reason it's not 1 is because they have a loss.
Yes. I mean, because he was great. He was great against the Bills.
Right, that's the thing. He was great, but we're 2 games in, they're 1-1. I get it.
And then at number 1, Justin Herbert. I mean, what? The dude has been phenomenal.
This is
phenomenal.
This is my worst nightmare. I can't believe
you don't think he right now. If you had to vote right now, who would you vote for?
Go ahead.
Right now.
No, this is why the show works. You know, if the world was made up of Kevin Wildes,
I mean, my God.
I would never do this. I'm like, that's Danny's corner. I would never ever do this. But you are a man of integrity.
Yeah,
like, I don't care. I'm just
how
telling
it
the
is.
truth.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so I appreciate
Okay,
that.
can I
I saw your face all scrunched up.
I just don't think Jordan Love deserves to. I think Mike has been the most impactful Packer. I think the story has been the Packers defense. And so like you know, and so if I were going to include a Packer, I would put him there. If it's like, it's got to be quarterbacks, I'd put Stafford. And so
he's got a 120 passer rating, J-Lo. They've played a tough competition.
Yeah, the Rams.
He's got a good group of receivers, but not what Stafford has. Puka and Devontae Adams?
Sure. I agree with you. I think that they both have good receiving cores. It's different. I'm trying to think if there's anybody other than Stafford that
Daniel Jones, Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, like if we're gonna, listen.
I hear you on Micah. I thought about Micah, but realistically.
And again, if we're doing like the 1-1, you're still eligible. There's a sneaky Dak argument. Just like there's a Lamar
over any of those guys, though?
I think that Jordan Love has not had an MVP caliber 2 games.
I think it'll crystallize.
It's early.
That's when Bruce Ballot really takes off.
Of course. Yeah, but I love seeing Baker up there.
Bake Show is a legit candidate.
Start off with Daniel Jones. Greg's going to be at the airport right now. First things first, overtime coming up at 5 o'clock. Stay with us. Live from New York. It's a show that's asked as the assigned to a guy. Let's ease back off the interviews.
Well, he has no choice. He has to do them.
Contractually obligated.
He's just gotten really bad at it, bro.
He was just
asked about Josh Allen. And he's like, man, that guy's amazing. I can't do half of what he does. I
thought
can't
Nick was joking around. I thought he took a real Tua quote and then slid in a dig at Tua. And he's like, no, that's what he really said.
What he said. And yesterday he said, listen, I've talked with Tyreek. He needs to understand that when I throw the ball, he needs to stop, find it, look, and come back. That'll help us.
This hasn't.
I'm not lying,
really true?
It's a paraphrase, but he did say it.
It's not great.
Keep talking to her every day.
Yeah.
But it's Danny Parkin's day here on First Things First. Today, are we expecting Caleb to make the leap against a porous Dallas defense?
Yes.
Interesting. Meanwhile, Top 10 Tuesday from Parkins coming in about 18 minutes. How far have the Chiefs fallen? We discussed.
They were not on Colin's herd hierarchy for the first time in half decade.
Well, that's a little much.
How big is the hierarchy?
10.
10.
It's fine with Wildes. Wildes thinks the only people who believe in the Chiefs are born in Missouri.
Well, honestly, they are the only one of the few teams that have lost their last 3 games.
That's not true at all.
One of the few.
Okay.
I'd have to look at
I bet most of the 0-2 teams lost their last game last year. The Texans definitely did.
Yeah, but then they had a bye. Yeah. Danny's guy, Justin Herbert, undefeated. 240 some odd yards, 2 touchdowns last night, one of them perfect. Here's Herbert after the game.
It's 1 week at a time for us. You know, it's that's the way you got to play this game. You can't look too far ahead, and you can't look in the past. And you know, we're going to watch the film on this one, you know, and move on to our next opponent. Obviously, there are things to clean up today, but I like the direction where we're going, and as long as we're moving forward, keep getting better. You know, I like the things that this team could do.
Okay, Herbert. Danny, here are Herbert's rankings.
Might as well call him Herbert.
Second passer rating, second in yards per pass, tied for second, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Yeah, those are pretty good.
Over 300 total yards and 5th in completion percentage.
Before you even go to Danny,
yeah.
I have terrible news for everyone.
What is it?
What are you doing?
I have terrible news. Danny's agenda has broken contain. See what FanDuel tweeted?
FanDuel's tweeting stuff?
FanDuel.
Oh, okay.
Is Justin Herbert really the next Peyton Manning? Victory! With a career comparison. Now, to be fair, DraftKings is our preferred betting sponsor. However, FanDuel does have a reach. And
how about that?
FanDuel is quote tweeting this goofball and then putting up their own stat panel. asking the question. Now you can get back to it, but I don't
Ball
like that
knowers.
one bit.
Ball knowers over there at FanDuel. And Brou, ball knower.
Hey,
Number one on the
thank
MVP ballot. Well done.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean,
I'm back to rooting against it.
what?
Yeah.
What?
Herbert top 5.
I mean,
Officially a top 5 QB.
yes, obviously. Wait, you can't. You
have him number one. You have him the best in the league.
I got him as the MVP right now after 2 weeks. Officially, and look, I know my thing is fluid. We got the top 4.
I thought we
But
were
hold on.
alive.
After 2 weeks,
Whoa, and
there
the
is no
last
official
5
number
years.
5 yet. There is no official number 5 right now.
It's still fluid.
Yeah, we gotta see how this season plays out. Now, if he plays this way,
True.
say wins a playoff game, then you can throw him in there maybe. But what if he bombs out in the playoffs?
Well,
like he
that's
did.
That's an A-block topic for January.
Okay, I'm just saying I can't officially say he's number 5 right now.
We did a whole thing. Bru's ballot. You have a little outfit. You have the trophy, and you said, "And my number one vote."
Well, right now, after 2 games this season, I don't think he's better than Lamar Jackson
I want to
or Patrick
hear
Mahomes.
Danny's take, but I
You
agree.
get what I'm saying?
Yes, Brou doesn't think Baker's the third best quarterback in football, but he had him third on his ballot.
Also, for the record, there is no official. We're just talking.
but there's kind of an official top 4.
Yeah, it
That
feels
pretty much everybody agrees
mostly
on.
universally agreed upon top 4. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, I'm not
And
saying
now
that
Danny
the
thinks
5 is locked.
it's a top
I
5
can't say the
and
5
Herbert's
is
in
locked.
it. Go ahead.
I think the 5 is locked, and it's partly based on, yes, what we have seen through these 2 games, but also what we've seen through 5 years. But those numbers that you just put up, we could put them up again. Well, I'm just saying, all of those numbers are in the top 5. And it's 2 weeks. It's a 2-week sample, but all of those numbers are in the top 5. And if he needs to do it for a full year, he needs to win an MVP, he needs to do those sort of things, he is starting hot, like MVP candidates have started before. If you have 600 yards, 5 touchdowns, no picks, and a 2-0 start just through your first 2 games, like you come out of the gate that hot, your list is MVP winners and guys who had great years but lost to the MVP. So, I mean, it is out of the gate hot. And I don't feel like, because FanDuel is doing the heavy work for me there with the Peyton Manning thing, what they haven't done is they're not tracking year 6 Peyton, where he won the MVP, with year 6 of Herbert. And Justin Herbert's crushing him. I mean, better completion percentage, more yards, more touchdowns, same number of wins, both undefeated.
Would you, and I don't want to get into, I know Wilds will kill me, we don't want to get into a historic, but the numbers, it was different playing quarterback.
Yeah. Well, that's why
that's why the numbers are, so it's not an apples to apples.
Yeah, but 5-0 versus 1-2 is something.
Quarterbacks
so the point is, the wins now, through 2 games, have caught up with the eye test. You said earlier, like, no one's ever denied, like, his ability to throw the ball. Yep. Well, now they're letting him throw the ball because the rest of the team, including the coach, has figured out, oh, yeah, we have this truly elite quarterback. I mean, they came on the beginning of the broadcast last night and they're like, the Chargers think they maybe have the best quarterback in football. Yeah. The Chargers believe they've got an MVP candidate here. And I know that's a team talking up their own guy, but they are game planning around him as such. And so now that he's empowered, I don't know why anyone would think he can't be top 5 or eventually higher.
Oh, I think he can be. I think calling him that right now is ludicrous. I think that he has, because he's, to your point, he's always had the talent. Yeah. It's always been about, have you produced? And there is literally nothing, in my opinion, a player can do through the first 2 games of year 6 to cement that stamp that we're talking about. So, because in a weird way, a rookie would have almost a better chance of like stamping it because they.
Well, a lot of people thought it was Jayden.
Correct, and that's kind of my point. Like Jayden, because all we've seen was excellence and then a real playoff run and all of that. That to me was almost more evidence than a player who we have seen play awesome in regular seasons. We have seen, to your point, whatever record he has as a rookie, he broke a record, and he still has
most touchdowns for a rookie ever with 31, and most passing yards ever through 5 seasons.
Right, and
to start a career.
Right, and for me at least, that still wasn't enough to have him in contemplation for the top 5 because we have other quarterbacks who maybe don't quite pass the eye test as much as him, but have done so much more and played their best ball in the biggest spots. And so I do think Herbert is off to an awesome start. I don't love, and I'm curious where you guys stand on it, I don't love how many hits he's taking running the ball. I think you don't sign Najee Harris and draft Marion Hampton to have your, some of your best runs of the year be from your quarterback. I don't like that Mahomes is doing it with the Chiefs. They're doing it out of utter necessity. They can't move the ball and their running game stinks. These guys have, I don't totally understand that element of it, and it's a little concerning to me, but he's off to a great start. But to just say he's stamped ahead of whether it's Jayden or Stafford or Baker or Wild's guy Hurts.
It could become J-Lo if he, continues has a great
And J-Lo passes an eye test too in a different way than Herbert does.
He puts the ball in harm's way, though, more than Herbert does.
Well, in the playoffs, they both put it in harm's way a lot. You know what I mean?
Herbert had the worst game of his career in one spot where 2 interceptions went off his guy's hands.
But how many did he have that game?
It was 4.
Okay.
It was.
Two of them were off his guy's hands.
Breaking them all day. 4 interceptions.
And I also, Wild's, your point for kind of our show, I think smartly has been, we can't make every single conversation about the postseason when we're in week 2. And I agree with that. Right. I also, last night when I heard on the broadcast that he has 30 touchdowns to 3 interceptions in his last however many games. Those asterisks, those stats, the 4 interception playoff game almost weighs heavier because he only threw 3 interceptions all of last year. You know what I mean? That makes it feel more so far out of the norm that it felt like it was a real flaw in that. And so I will need to see more, but you've believed he's top 5 quarterback since Oregon, I think.
For years. And one team drafted Tua in front of him. Yeah. Insane.
Chargers defense, this is their 4th game allowing under 10 points. Are you at all worried that you're going to have to go down the Jalen Hurts MVP candidacy route rather than the Joe Burrow candidacy MVP route? Last year, Burrow, we got to light it up. We got to score 40. They could have scored 14 and won this game.
Well, I mean, obviously, and Nick's made the point before, a great defense helps a quarterback. It's invaluable. But there's no A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley on this team. And his offensive line is very good, but it's not the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line, the Slater injury. I don't think the Chargers' overall roster can be compared to the Eagles, especially on the offensive side.
Also, he's throwing it a lot more.
I think Wild's is saying that they take the ball out of their hands.
They just need to win the game. That you can play a more, like what they did last year. You can play a more conservative style of football that doesn't fill up the stat sheet.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if their running game comes on, but right now he's doing it. Last year they were a great running team.
Yeah,
for 2 games this year they've been a terrible running team.
He's throwing it so much this year, it's incredibly.
With Greg Roman and Jim Harbaugh, it's shocking how much they're leaning into Herbert.
Yeah. It should because he's very good at throwing the ball.
Chargers Broncos next week.
Right,
Bake Show also 2-0, 250 in the air, 2 touchdowns, 33 charismatic yards on the ground.
There's an argument for Baker top 5.
Yes. Yeah. What do you think? Here's Baker post game. Sorry.
In these 2-minute close games, we were not on the right side of things for the past couple of years, and it's good to see that we haven't even played close to our best ball in all 3 phases, and we're still finding ways to win on the road, and that's really important. Is to not lose sight of that. We're finding ways to win, but also we do need to get things fixed.
What did Baker and the Bucs prove last night?
I mean, for Baker, is a continuation of what he's been proving the last couple of years. That he is, as Brou mentioned, in that argument as one of the very best quarterbacks in football. And I don't know, Christina, if we have it or not, but what Danny and Wild stat for Justin Herbert with his ranks for this year, that stat exists for Baker with the ranks over last season to this season. You know what I mean? The 20 games. I mean, that's stunning.
The touchdowns are wild.
Yeah, man. And since he became a Buc, he's second or third in passing touchdowns. I don't remember what the number is, but I know he's top 3. Or it might even be first, but I know he's top 3. And so he has become not only one of the more clutch players at the position, and amazingly, one of the more reliable players at the position, but also the heartbeat of that team.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, I think those, as much as I hate some of the Herbert runs and the Mahomes runs, I'll take it with Baker. Because I think that's part of, like, what makes him him, is like the play last year, and I should have had him pull it, when it was 4th down and Nicky Bosa had him, and he just held on to Nicky Bosa's face mask basically while completing a pass. Like, the gritty, tough plays are a part of what makes Baker special and makes his teammates love him. And I think, Brou, given their schedule, I think the 1 seed is very in play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, I heard you say that earlier. Look, it's in play. But I think because, like, I don't think the NFC North is as good as we thought it was going to be. Now, Minnesota might not be that good. Chicago might not be that good. So you got 2 teams. Yep. So I think that the winner of that division could have a much better record. So it's in play for them, though. But they proved they're a contender. I agree with everything Nick said about Baker. And I agree even with the running part. That's part of Baker. Like, his story, if you look at his story his entire life, in high school, people didn't believe in him. In college, they didn't believe in him. Then finally people believe in him, and he goes number 1, and it doesn't pan out. Then he becomes this underdog again, and now he's back at the top. So, look, it's great for him, but they're a legit contender. Danny, I would have Green Bay, Philadelphia, and Detroit ahead of them, but I kind of think they're a second-tier legit Super Bowl contender, though.
I think they are too, and what they're doing right now with Wirfs being out, maybe the best tackle in football. That's a huge piece to.
And then the other guy got hurt yesterday.
Clancy, their other tackle got hurt last night, and Clancy obviously is a big injury for them. So we'll see how injured they are, which is a huge determining factor in every season. I heard what you said about Baker earlier and how you would process it if you were a Browns fan. And I'm with you because they have all of this history of quarterback futility. But I went back and looked at it after I heard you said it. He did play 59 games for them.
Yeah.
And the last year it was 17 touchdowns and 13 picks. So Wilds, you were like, if we get Baker on, would he be this player if he would have stayed there? My hunch is he would say, and the true answer is no. Because, like, the part of that question, what did Baker and the Bucs prove? Just focus on the Bucs piece of it for a second. When we talk about best organizations in football, we talk about the ones that have hoisted the Lombardi Trophy, understandably. Philly, Kansas City.
Well, the Bucs have. They've hoisted it.
Sure, with Brady, right? I think Brady gets more credit for that, but you're right. But what they've done and what Baker has done, like Chris Godwin had reportedly $30 million more on the table from New England, and he went back to Tampa. They brought back all 11 starters on their offense. Liam Cohen left, and they're still winning. Like, he's done it with multiple coaches.
I think 2 straight, because Canales left, then Liam Cohen.
Like, they are just quietly, Jason Licht, the general manager, the Todd Bowles, resurgence as a head coach. They are quietly a top 5 organization. Really? And just in terms of stability, production.
They win the division every year.
We don't talk about them in those terms, but I don't know what else to say about them. They are just underrated and underappreciated.
Cowboys Bears on Fox. Russ just threw for 450 yards against the Cowboys. So is Caleb going to light up Dallas in Chicago? Well, Ben Johnson has seen improvements from his quarterback. Take a listen.
I did see significant growth. It's not perfect yet. I did think he got better from week 1 to week 2. I'm encouraged by what I saw, and I'm hopeful that we'll continue to see another leap here this week.
Danny, you've been following Caleb. Do you think he's going to take a leap against the Cowboys?
Yes, I do. I also don't think that progress is totally linear. Like, I think there will be a step forward and then a step back, and this is going to be, a flight with some turbulence here in his first year with Ben Johnson. And changing his style of play and being more on time and in rhythm and adjusting to this, but ultimately it will pay dividends because the stuff that he can do that is so special is not going to go away and it will always be there. You want that to be your changeup. You want your fastball to be in the pocket on time, and that's what Ben Johnson is coaching him to do. And if he beats the Cowboys where they're favored, and then he beats the Raiders where they will likely be favored if they beat the Cowboys, they'll be 2-2 heading into the bye, and I think everything will be okay. So I do expect him to take a step forward. I do think he is going to be fine, and I think a lot of the sky is falling rhetoric out of the Detroit game specifically is silly.
So is it possible that Caleb will be fine, but the sky is falling in Chicago? Because that would be my concern would be this. Because the Chicago Bears just allowed 52 points.
Yeah.
And when we've talked about him, we're talking about Caleb. Like, was that a positive
I think it's a mistake.
Right. Here's the thing. He is going to be the epicenter of the attention. Of
course.
You know what I mean? People don't care, about, Jalen Johnson's out for the year. Like, that's not, and Ben Johnson's not a defensive mastermind, he's an offensive mastermind. People are going to be focused on that. And so my concern would be that even if Caleb takes positive steps like you think he can against a Cowboys defense that has not, aside from post-weather delay in week 1, has just let every team go up and down the field at will, why do I think that the Bears defense is going to slow down what right now looks to be like one of the most prolific passing attacks in football? And will that muddy the waters to a degree on what progress Caleb is or isn't making if they get blown out again? You know what I mean?
Well,
that would be my, and I'm not saying I'm picking it, but I don't know that I can pick the Bears right now to beat any team with a good quarterback, because I just don't know how they're going to get stops against those teams.
They better not lose in a blowout. They can lose, but it better be a shootout.
Oh.
I don't expect them to throw for 450 like Russ, but if they lose, because like I said, to me now, this season for Bears fans is about Caleb. Does he prove to us that he's our guy for the future? And if he goes out there against the Cowboys and throws for 290, something like that, a few touchdowns, and they lose
35-27.
Yeah, you can handle that.
That would be great.
If he doesn't cook the Cowboys, if he looks kind of like he's looked these first 2 games, then that's kind of problematic.
Would you be happy with that, Danny? That it's like a Caleb.
You know how many times I've done that Bears show on the radio? Like, hey, there was a little bit of progress, but they lost. Would I be happy with it? No, because I'm not ready to give up on this season.
Hold on.
I'm not ready yet.
On that, I have a
question. We'll get there soon.
I have a question. What is at your core, and you're right now an avatar for Bears or Bears fans?
Yeah, good.
A 9-6 Bears victory where Caleb throws 2 picks. And,
you mean a game I've seen 700 times in my life?
Or 35-31, Caleb's
I'll
awesome.
take that one.
I knew it.
Really?
So you're not ready to give up on the Bears season, but you'll sacrifice it at the altar of Caleb.
0-3 they are done.
Yes.
I've seen 9-6 with the quarterback be bad so many times that I would take
what I think.
Offensive explosion. And I know not all Bears fans will agree with me on that, but forest through the trees. Yeah. The more significant thing is, oh, wow, we do have a quarterback.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's the bigger thing.
We also need to see Ben Johnson get in rhythm a little bit.
Yeah, that would help.
It's like, it's Caleb. He can't run my system. Like, well, maybe you can't coach Caleb. Think about that.
Where's his running game, too?
Wow, what?
Well, just
now you let him out.
No, I'm just.
Time now for the most easy to understand segment in all of sports television, Top 10 Tuesday. I'm Danny Parkins with Coach Eric Mangini and Willie Colon. At this time each and every week, I tell you who the top 10 teams in the NFL are, and then neither of these two gentlemen disagree, and we just move on because it is, of course, a perfect list. It's that simple. We begin with number 10. The Washington Commanders, down 3 spots, but it was a loss to the Packers, who are great, so I'm not going to bump them completely out of the top 10, though Marcus Mariota could be in line to make a start for the first time in a long time. Concerns with the Commanders, though, just beyond the injuries. Laremy Tunsil, where's that impact? Because 7 sacks for that offensive line allowed in just 2 games. They are 21st in yards per play. The offense not looking as elite as we thought it would coming into the year. Number 9, we've been talking about them all day, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, unranked last week. Clutch. We know what Baker Mayfield can do, but if you actually want to quantify it, tied for the most touchdowns in the fourth quarter in the last 2 years, second best passer rating in the fourth quarter in the last year. Money time, money performance from that quarterback, and they're not fully healthy yet. So when Baker said last night their best ball is still to come, I think he's got a lot of reason to believe that. Number 8, Willie, you were right. I had him outside the rankings before the year, and it was a mistake. I've seen enough with the Los Angeles Rams, who entered the top 10. And you could talk about Stafford and Devontae and Puka and what they want to do with the running game. But man, that defense, best defense in the NFL.
Talk to 'em.
I'm saying, listen, they're young, but they're productive, and they're carrying over what they did from last year. I cannot wait to see what they do in that playoff game rematch, the divisional round, which was awesome last year. They get the Eagles this week. Number 7, this is more like it. My Super Bowl pick for the 3rd consecutive year in terms of representing the NFC is the Detroit Lions. I hated that the Bears had to be on the wrong end of it, but that offense, when it's humming, is an absolute juggernaut. Last week was their 3rd game scoring 50 or more since 2023. The rest of the NFL, 4 combined. When they get rolling, their offense is as good as anyone. Number 6, the lowest I've had them in years. What? The Kansas City Chiefs. Here's the thing. They're going to get the benefit of the doubt from me longer than most people would like them to get the benefit of the doubt. Well, we'll get into it. But there's no Worthy, there's no Rice. I still think by far their best is still to come. And Mahomes, the numbers haven't been there. He looks fine to me. So if I got Mahomes, I think they're going to be okay. And their defense had a really nice performance overall. So I do think the Chiefs are going to be just fine. Number 5, the Green Bay Packers. I know some people have them at 1. I don't trust the quarterback to not throw interceptable balls. He's had some good luck so far. The passes that he's thrown that have been in harm's way have just fallen to the turf. So that hasn't happened. But their defense this year has allowed 9 points and 0 touchdowns. So that's pretty good. But number 4, the Chargers. Now I can talk about Justin Herbert, and I have. And I will. A lot. That he's top 5 in every category. Top 5 in touchdowns and yards and completion percentage and rating. But how about the Chargers defense, which is carrying over its production, where it was the number 1 scoring defense last year, picking up right where it left off as a top 3 defense overall to start the year. 3rd in scoring, 1st in passer rating. They have allowed 1 touchdown through the air. Pretty impressive considering, of course, they played Mahomes in week 1. Number 3, there is no change, the Baltimore Ravens. I can't jump you up for blowing out the Cleveland Browns when that is exactly what you are supposed to do. But since the beginning of last year, Lamar Jackson just a cool 47-4 touchdown to interception ratio. That's going to win you a lot of games, unless, of course, you're Baltimore and it's January. Number 2 would be the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen and everything that they are able to do. James Cook, by the way, unbelievable production on the ground. And here's the thing about Buffalo. We can put up the Bills' schedule, please. Why everyone thinks they're going to be the 1 seed is because they're going to be the 1 seed. Miami, New Orleans, New England, Atlanta, they're not going to lose the bye. Carolina, they get the Chiefs at home. I mean, there's just not much there. The Chargers have an easy schedule too, so I think the Chargers are going to have something to say about that. We can talk about that as we go. But man, Buffalo is playing well. They got that win against Baltimore, and the road in front of them is looking good. And then number 1, this is just my own personal rule for Top 10 Tuesday. You want to be the champs, you got to beat the champs. The Philadelphia Eagles remain at number 1. They have not looked the part in terms of dominance yet, but Jalen Hurts, he's a winner, Willie. He's a winner. No, listen, the tongue is firmly implanted in the cheek there. But listen, their defense has allowed 7 points in the second half through 2 games. Obviously, their best football still to come as well. All right, perfect list, Coach?
It's surprising. I agree with you a lot more than I ever agree with Nick, but we're not quite at the perfect list.
No, all right. Perfection is unattainable.
There are a lot of good things on the list. I like Detroit, and I really like Johnny Morton, their new offensive coordinator. This guy I was worked with in San Francisco, but I think you're a little too high on him right now. And as you look at the game last week against Chicago, I don't know if the narrative is that the Lions are back to who they were, or if the narrative is Chicago's worse than what we thought they were going to be.
It's a combination.
And what I didn't love, I didn't love the volume. I know you loved it, the volume of celebration that Detroit had, the whole.
It's funny.
The idea that this was some big revenge game, but the amount of time that gets spent on this celebration, prepping for the celebration. Look, it's week 2. They had a nice game, but to see it consistently is what I'm going to need to do with 2 new coordinators. And I wouldn't start celebrating Detroit in the sense that they're back.
So when I do these things, like if you've been good for a long time, I'm going to give you more of the benefit of the doubt. And that's reflected in a lot of the rankings here for my list. But I understand, and we disagree. I love the celebration. If you're taunting and trash talking, even if against my team, I got to respect it. All right, so Coach had a quibble. Willie, perfect?
Well, first of all, bless your kind heart. You are a giving man. I got to give you that.
Thank you.
I do have a problem with your list. Any team that starts off 0-2 doesn't deserve to be in the top 10. That's just me. That should be for everybody walking around. So I'm going to drop them Chiefs, and I'm going to raise those Rams. You got to understand the Rams want to get their lit back after especially losing to the Eagles in the playoffs, right? But this season is contingent on the health of Matthew Stafford and his plate-making ability. I got a little tape for you. Here we go right now. Rams versus Titans, 2nd and 10 on the 35. Look at this big offensive line. I talked about Matthew Stafford's health, and that clean pocket is necessary if this team wants to be successful. Watch him step up in the pocket. A no-look dime to Devontae Adams on a completion. Man, when you talk about the way they play and the weapons they have, Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, this offensive line is playing well. Not to have a Lark Jackson. This defense is backing them up in a major way. The Rams are legit, and they're coming for the number 1 spot. So you can sleep now, but them rowdy Rams, watch out, baby.
That's a hell of a throw you just showed. You got him beating the Eagles?
Yeah.
You do? Okay.
Listen, I feel like you pressured me into saying that.
I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
That's a very quick prediction.
I didn't want to say it,
that was
but you looked at me and I bit the apple. You got it.
Well, no, listen, the Rams, my questions were, is the offensive line good enough to protect a 37-year-old quarterback who's not mobile with a bad back? And I still have those questions over the course of a 17-game season and the postseason. But no one can doubt, Coach, if you told me like Matt Stafford is healthy and Matt Stafford's going to be upright, yeah, they're a very dangerous team.
And it was interesting going into week 1, they kept a lot of extra offensive linemen, and people were worried thinking that it was because they were insecure in terms of who the starting group was. But as you hear them talk, they feel really good about not just the first group, but the guys that are behind him, which is fantastic for Matthew Stafford.
Well, I want to say this quickly. I think a large part of the success, as we mentioned, the defense, when you're able to shut out the Titans in the second half and put the clamps up again in week 2, that gives the offense an extra level of confidence. We don't have to score 30 to get out of here. Our defense has our back. So they look complete, man. I like the Rams right now.
I'll make a pledge to you. If the Chiefs go to 0-3, I'll drop them again. I can't promise outside of the top 10.
That's big of you.
They're going to drop
4 games in a row with the Super Bowl.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
That is true. Hey, it's been like a week since someone has said that Jalen Hurts is underrated. This time, though, the case fairly compelling. We'll get into it on FTF. We go to Philadelphia and talk about the champs and Super Bowl MVP Jalen Hurts, who has started this season 2-0. And there's a new quarterback ranking from Jeff Ho at The Athletic. Probably How. At The Athletic. And a rival executive is quoted as saying, "He is a killer. His toughness and makeup are so underrated. We concern ourselves so much about arm talent and then just completely underrate the intangibles at the position." End quote. So it's the latest accusation that Jalen Hurts is underrated. And I guess guilty as charged. I do enjoy arm talent. I do enjoy my quarterbacks throwing the football. But here's where the Eagle fan argument and this rival executive lose me. I had him as the 10th best quarterback in the NFL coming into the year. And I was told that was wildly disrespectful.
Facts.
And then okay, fine. Well, then the ESPN and the Athletic poll that quote the coaches and the general managers and the scouts, one of them had him 9th, the other one had him 7th or 8th. So like around where I had him at 10th. If I did it based on the stats, he's not top 20. Because since the start of last year when he won a Super Bowl, he's 21st in passing yards, 22nd in touchdowns, 24th in attempts, 23rd in 300-yard games. He has thrown less than 30 pass attempts in 16 of his last 17 games. But I have him 10th because of the winning, because of the leadership, because of the toughness, because of the running, because of the intangibles. So I don't understand. Like, do I have to say he's the best quarterback in football because he won the Super Bowl?
No.
Like, what am I missing here with this conversation?
Here's what I agree. I agree he's underrated when you look at the selflessness with which he plays that. But he's not underrated when you look at him as a passer who's being held back. And to me, that's a completely different thing. And to some degree, this isn't a compliment. It's a little bit of an insult. It's saying he's not that great of he doesn't have that great of a skill set, but the intangibles, those things are what put him over the edge and are underrated. And if you look at his production, you mentioned the 30 pass attempts. If you look at his production when he throws 30 or more versus when he throws 30 or less, it's radically different. So his record, 32-9, under 30, 22-14 with 30 or more. Win percentage right on down the line. And over that 17-game span that you just talked about, the last 17 games, he's only thrown over 31 times, and they've been undefeated during that time period. And there's a reason for it. And after he signed his initial contract, that following season, he tried to justify the big numbers. And what happens? He throws 15 interceptions. He has another 5 fumbles. There's 20 turnovers. I think it was like 4th in the league. It wasn't very good. They go into the supernatural funk. They lose in the playoff game. So you've got all those things happen. They come out the next year. They're trying to justify the numbers again and push that over 30, or push him over 30, make him a passer, and they go 2-2. After they get away from that, they go on the winning streak and they win the Super Bowl. So to me, the formula is the formula. It's play great defense, it's run the football, and it's have him manage the game. That makes him great for this system, and I respect the egolessness with which he plays at. But to push him to try to be this great passer, that's not who he is.
Yeah, first
this drives you crazy.
It does. It does because one, he's underrated. I think that's as we simply here talk about. But he's a Super Bowl champ. He's a Super Bowl MVP, and we treat him like he's simply a passenger on this championship team. What annoys me the most is because it seems like if the critics aren't happy with his play style, his big arms, or his numbers don't jump off the page, we consider him a B-level quarterback when he's simply asked to do what's best for the team, as you're stating, by running the ball, playing behind the offensive line and defense. What's not talked about is his poise and his ball security. I had the ability to play with the great Ben Roethlisberger. What Ben was great at outside of his playmaking ability was to lower the temperature on the field. And that was because of his demeanor and his poise. That's an intangible that a lot of these great quarterbacks don't have. The top 5 do, right? But when you step up in the huddle and you're in a crucial situation, how you carry yourself in that moment matters because it ripples out to the rest of the offense. On top of how you do give up a fumble and you just sit on the sideline, your body language matters. This guy has mastered all those things, and solely because that's not a stat, or solely because that's not going down in the books, he's looked as a B-level quarterback. And that's annoying because at the end of the day, like I said, he's a champion, he's a Super Bowl MVP. And by the way, every time he goes against the number 1 quarterback in Patrick Mahomes, he shows up and beats him. So I don't understand why we could put him in the bottom of the barrel.
He does show up and beat him, but he shows up and beats him with a guy who was almost the MVP at running back and with a defense that's top-rated.
Just because I'm a part of a great team, I still have to do my job and be efficient at it.
Right, but that doesn't make you top 10.
Why not? Especially if I'm able to. What he does,
you might be in a top 10 team, and you might be part of a top 10 organization. That doesn't necessarily make you a top 10
If
player.
you look at his style of playing, what he's great at, he's really efficient on first down, and he closes games. He's arguably one of the best closers since 2022. That's what makes him an elite quarterback. We can knock the guy because he has Saquon Barkley in the offensive line. That's Howie Roseman doing a great job. But we look at this man's career, how he's been able to deliver. He answers the bell. If you put him on the bench, he comes back and he delivers. There's been so much knock on what he can't do instead of highlighting how he shows up each and every day in crucial situations. I can't listen just because I don't want to say that because we're on air and I don't want to get in trouble.
Thank you.
But what I'm trying to say is the narrative just because he's on a good team is why he's not a A-level quarterback is nauseating because when you take away what he's able to do better without the stats, he's an elite quarterback.
He wins, they produce, but I struggle with so Nick Sirianni's the best coach in the NFL? They got the best coach, the best quarterback, the best running back, the best receivers, the best defense. It's okay to say it's just the best situation and he's very good.
Yeah.
I said the same thing for Patrick Mahomes.
No, but you could drop Patrick Mahomes onto any team and he's going to win.
A week ago, we sat here and talked about how Colin had that big take, how the best situation for Patrick Mahomes was gifted to him with Andy Reid, Tyreek Hill, Kareem Hunt, Travis Kelce, and a defense that was arguably low. And then the second year when they won the Super Bowl, they were top 5. So I'm saying if we allow the Patrick Mahomes,
he threw for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns.
My point is we can't knock the man Patrick Mahomes landing in a great situation and Jalen Hurts landing in the same great situation and saying that there's a difference solely because of the touchdowns. It's actually he's doing what he's asked to do.
He is doing what he's asked to do. I'd like to see more touchdowns. There weren't a lot of touchdowns in that game for Houston last night, but let's talk about the other side of that game. We did Tampa a little bit earlier in the show. Texans are now 0-2. The final drive, of course, by Baker Mayfield. And C.J. Stroud had some struggles, took some bad sacks, and he just did not look very good. 13 of 24 passing. Here's Stroud after the loss.
Sun will rise in the morning. It's not the end of the world, but at the same time, we all get paid a service, to do a job, and we got to get those jobs done at a faster rate. And yeah, I think as a team we got to just stay together. Everybody's gonna talk crazy, and we suck, we this, we that, and at the end of the day, we got to stay together and just mesh well.
I wouldn't say all that, but I would say that C.J. Stroud, we were doing Jalen Hurts underrated. I do feel like he's become overrated.
No, stop that.
Really? Okay, but all right. I think this might be a cousin of the same conversation we just had, though.
Maybe.
Because he's like, wow, his first 2 years in the league, he won playoff games. And that is obviously very impressive. But then you dig in, it's like, okay, he beat Joe Flacco in his first one at home in a game where his defense gave him 2 pick sixes. And then he won a playoff game last year in a game where his defense turned over Justin Herbert and the Chargers 4 times. And his rookie season was very impressive that he didn't throw the ball away. He didn't turn the ball over.
Right.
But, I pull up the Ringer and they're like, he's the 7th best quarterback in football. Or NFL.com has him as the 9th best quarterback in football. And then you watch some of these throws last night, and you guys tell me, this is not, he's being sacked. There's not a ton of pressure. These are just snap, throw, misses. I was watching that game last night, blown away by the misses that he was having and how easy they seemed to me. It was not like he was on his back getting sacked 7 times in the game last night. Some of those throws that he missed were just unacceptable, Coach.
Yeah, but when you look at the season, though, they have been pressured about 40%. He's been pressured about 40% of the time.
Sure.
Or is under pressure 40% of the time, which is 10th most. He's been sacked 6 times, which is on the high end. And there were a lot of questions about the offensive line going into the season. They traded away Tunsil.
He was sacked a ton last year.
Yeah, so you're dealing with that as well. So you wonder if the misses are a function of a clock in his head saying, okay, I better get rid of this maybe quicker than I have to, or he could also be pressing. With that kind of success so early, and then the expectations that come with it. Now, similar to Jalen, what Jalen does a good job of, he doesn't let that bother him. And for young quarterbacks, learning to not press can be just as important as anything else.
So you thought he was pressing last night?
Well, I don't think it's just last night. I think there's an element of that all through last season, and it's completely understandable because the expectations were so high after the incredible season he had as a rookie.
What are you seeing?
Yeah, I just see a quarterback who's dealing with some of the trauma that Coach is talking about with the lack of protection. But overall, I feel like he's walking into a nightmare very much what the Cincinnati Bengals are going through, a catastrophic injury that's going to reset this organization solely because they can't protect him, right? He was all over the place. But some of the hits he took, he's been sacked, to your point, Coach, 6 times in the last 2 games, right? I threw out a stat not too long ago. He's been sacked over 90 times in his career right now. And so you talk about a young quarterback with a ton of potential, by the way, who doesn't have Tank Dell, who doesn't have Joe Mixon right now, who's lacking Christian Kirk and Berrios. So there's no weapons on the field for him to kind of lean on. He's shouldering all this by himself. And I watched that game last night, and sure, Todd Bowles blitzed the paint off the Texans helmet. Every time he looked up, there was guys coming at him. But there's a level right now from a head coaching standpoint, an organization standpoint, where he's at risk out there. Because of the throws and the lack of protection, he's a Joe Burrow injury away from this thing going upside down. If they can't find a way to protect him and try to evolve this offense where it's not solely on him.
Yeah, maybe it was a mistake to get rid of one of the best left tackles in football. Seems like a bold strategy.
Yeah.
Like all the sacks last year, let's get rid of our best offensive lineman.
And some of it, too, for him, he's going to have to speed up and maybe some quicker throws, screens, things like that.
Yeah. Speaking of an injured quarterback, and there have been a lot through 2 games already, Jayden Daniels, Dan Quinn speaks on it and the injury and when we might be able to see him coming back. Big news in Washington. Jayden Daniels uncertain to play Sunday against the Raiders. The game, of course, on Fox. Dan Quinn said, he'll share more tomorrow. We'll know more tomorrow. But he's truly day-to-day, and they're going to do everything in Jayden Daniels' interest with the knee injury. It's a knee sprain is what they're publicly saying. Coach, they're 1-1. How much trouble do you feel like they're in right now?
Here's where I think they could be in trouble. They're the oldest team in the league. That's a problem. So as the season goes on, older teams tend to have a lot of injuries. Last season, they had incredible luck with injuries. They lost one guy for a total of 9 games. This year, they've already lost 2 guys to IR. They've got 3 other guys with injuries that are going to miss games, plus Jayden Daniels, and they're an older team. That's what worries me.
Yeah, I think to your point, Coach, it makes sense to kind of set him. Mariota's more than capable. I think if you're talking about what can the Commanders do, it's about quick game, play action, and finding some type of run identity, right? One time your quarterback's your leading rusher, that's a problem in my eyes, especially if you're not designed for that. And the defense has to play a lot better. So they got to – I get why they're careful, and Mariota's more than capable of being the Raiders, so I don't think it's a big deal.
Well, that's the thing, right? You got the Raiders. It's week 3. Jayden Daniels is the franchise. You're obviously going to be protective. And to your point, they were lucky with health last year. And 9 victories in 1-score games? Like, we talk about them as this team that, oh my God, they went to the NFC Championship game. They beat Tampa by 3 in that playoff game, right? That game goes differently. We're talking about them totally different, but obviously they'll do everything they can to protect Jayden Daniels as he is the franchise. No 10 p.m. kickoff tonight, boys.
Nice.
Get to get a little sleep before tomorrow's show. Not so bad.